This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
Fever have it down 85-84. Not calling a timeout. Steph lets him play. Kelsey bounce pass looking for Boston. Deflected. Mitchell gets it to Sims. 5 in the shot clock. Sims finds Boston. Scores with 7.4 to go for the lead. Timeout Atlanta. It's 86-85 Fever. 7.4 to go. And the Fever are on the cusp of advancing to the WNBA semifinals.
Size on the ball with Bree Turner. Howard gets it in, but it's knocked away by Lexi Hall. Hall with the steal. And the Indiana Fever.
1.2 seconds remaining. Fever 87, Dream 85. Ryan Howard will be the inbounder for Atlanta near the Fever bench. Fever a stop away from the semifinals. Howard into Jones, shot fake, desperate one, no good! Game over, and the Fever are moving on! Final score, 87-85 in Atlanta!
I am so proud that we live to fight another day!
Happy Friday, Operation Football underway, but we're talking basketball right out of the gate. The Indiana Fever, for the first time in a decade, have advanced to the semifinals of the WNBA playoffs. Good morning, James Boyd. Good morning, Kevin Bowen, Mark Dykton. KB, this team's got a little bit of a Pacers feel to it down the stretch and never saying die and just finding ways to score one more point than the other team every night.
Yeah, scratch and clawed in those final few minutes last night. I thought John Nolan and Mark Dykton, great work, by the way, on that intro here on this Friday morning. John Nolan pointed out right at the start, Stephanie White not taking that timeout. That's very Rick Carlisle-y. A little chaotic for Atlanta. They were in scramble mode. The Fever found Aaliyah Boston for the layup, and then they obviously got those stops there at the end. So just an awesome story. And I thought last night, too, Kelsey Mitchell put the team on her back in that first half, but then you're down whatever they were at half, 7 or 8. And Mitchell only scored, I think, 5 in the second half, and yet you still come back and win that game. So hell of a story, and now off to the Final Four here against the Las Vegas Aces.
Yeah, there was a minute there. They were down 10 about midway through the game, JB, and I thought, oh, boy, this is going to be a tough one, and they just don't go away.
Yeah, I watched a podcast. This was probably about a month ago, and Austin Rivers, if you remember, the son of Doc Rivers, he called the Pacers, and they were going on their run, the best next play team in the NBA. And I think the Fever have that same sort of DNA where no matter what happens, they're able to kind of stick with it, kind of block out whatever bad plays, miscues have happened, because by all means, that game was not perfect. It certainly wasn't perfect late, but, I mean, you're down, 85-80, and you close out the game on an incredible run. And I thought Lexi Hall made some big decisions, made a huge layup to cut it to 1 before the Aaliyah Boston game winner. Then obviously we saw Lexi get the huge steal. So to me, on that play in particular, yes, that was Lexi Hall doing what she does, making the hustle play. But, boy, did you all hear Stephanie White basically call out exactly what they were going to do? And they just shut them down. I thought that the Dream took some terrible shots down the stretch, some of the dumbest basketball you'll ever see, and the Fever took full advantage.
Yeah, they certainly did, and they got big plays down the stretch. And even after they got the late lead with about 7.5 seconds to go, Lexi Hall, little T.J. McConnell action. I'll take that basketball from you and seal this thing.
That was such a bad play. They were trying to throw the ball to Bree Jones, who's a great post player, but she was basically on the wing. And I was thinking, even if she does get the ball, is she going to back somebody down for 5 seconds and go shoot? Like, you need to go quick. So I didn't understand any of their late game execution, but I thought Stephanie White, for all the heat she's taken this year and how rabid this fan base can be sometimes towards coaches, that's a real coach right there. They don't get that win without having her on the sideline, dialing things up, and really trusting so many different players to have key moments. Ariel Powers, I thought, had a couple of big buckets last night as well. And, again, to your point, Kevin, Kelsey Mitchell, what a star, what a player. She kind of kept them in the game. Without that huge first half, they're not keeping it tight. And I thought you were kind of like seeing the future a bit, Kevin, watching that game, I was thinking, man, everything you predicted for how they could win happened. You know, you had a huge half from Kelsey Mitchell. You kept it close late, and then you put pressure on them to execute in a team that really hasn't been there before. They wilted.
Yeah, I thought Atlanta just frankly kind of peed down their leg a lot in the final few minutes there, and the Fever handled it better than them. And you know, driving in this morning, you know, we kind of hit on this yesterday, but you think back on the last, let's just call it the last 12 months in, you know, our state, our market, if you will, and the types of sports stories that we have witnessed. If you want to live in that Fever season right now, it's the story of overcoming injuries. It's the story of resiliency. It's the story of Caitlin Clark in street clothes, and you're one of the Final Four teams standing for the first time in 10 years. Obviously, you go back to the collegiate year, the Indiana football story speaks for itself. IU football is in the college football playoff. Like, that is insane. The losingest program in college football history is in the first ever playoff. Notre Dame football, would they ever get back? Again, that's a different type of sports story. And they do, you know, show the ability to get to that final game. Purdue basketball, it's probably more of a multi-year thing, but once again, it's, hey, we're a little bit more of the non-flashy 5 stars, and we're kind of zagging as everyone's zigging in terms of the transfer portal and how we're built, and yet we're as consistent of a winner as any in college basketball. And then obviously what the Pacers did. The true cinema, climactic moments, the 8 points in 9 seconds seemingly every night, every series, the Halliburton shots, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we have gotten 4 or 5 really awesome and different sports stories. Yes, there is some Pacers feel to the end of last night, but it's also different in that it's overcoming the injuries. Again, it's Caitlin Clark in street clothes. It's all of that. So,
it's Caitlin Clark wearing the black Air Forces.
The black Air Forces.
Taking them off and showing everybody at the end, too.
You know what black Air Forces mean, Jeff?
She looks clean in those.
It means win, but it means win by any means. It means get down and dirty.
And it's like Tiger in red on Sunday at Augusta.
Exactly.
I thought I saw Ari McDonald rocking those
Ari
as
was
well.
wearing them as well.
So, yes, those could be, full team apparel coming up here for the Final Four.
I thought that was hilarious.
Starting on Sunday. But it's just been it's been an awesome 12 months when you think about it from a sports story standpoint, college, pro-wise, and, so far, so good on the NFL side. So we'll see how that plays out over the next 16 weeks.
Speaking of the NFL, first game of Week 3 last night, the Miami Dolphins playing in Buffalo, trying to drive for a tying score late, and Tua throws it right to a Buffalo Bill, and that's pretty much the end of the game right there.
Yeah, only turnover of the night, I believe, for either team, and a huge, huge mistake by Tua, and they're 0-3. And I get that they played better last night, I thought, than they have in their previous outings this year, but for the purposes of the Colts, you're feeling good about that. You're happy about that because we all know the Bills are going to make the playoffs anyways, but, again, looking at those fringe teams from last year, the Dolphins were one of them, and so with them staring at an 0-3 hole and you got a chance to go up 3-0 on the season as far as your record, that is a good thing for you.
Yes, it was, and it was. I was only checking back and forth on it every so often because I started getting really engaged in the Fever basketball game. Because for a minute you thought, the Fever, this is going to be tough. I turned away when they were down 10 for just a minute, and then I put it back on, and this team it's fun to watch.
Absolutely, and probably on the other side of this break, we got a lot going on today for high school football and football, but Kevin, I listened to the post-game press conference, and there was one question. Shout out to Meg Hall, one of my good friends who covers the WNBA for USA Today. She got a chance to ask the players. You hear players so often, or coaches so often praise their players. What does Kelsey Mitchell mean to this franchise? Kelsey Mitchell and Natasha Howard were there after the game, and Meg asked them, hey, what does Stephanie White mean to you? And I thought Kelsey Mitchell gave quite the answer about what it means to have Stephanie White in her corner, as well as Natasha Howard. You can see them get emotional about it. Stephanie White with some tears in her eyes. And again, will they go on and win a championship? I don't think so. But if you tell me you watched that game last night, you watched this season, and you didn't enjoy the journey or getting to this point, I mean, what are you watching the game for? It was awesome last night.
A lot of high school football, as James said here in the first hour. Good news on Tyler Warren, good news on Josh Downs, both getting back to practice yesterday. Only one Colt did not practice due to injury. That's Joe Bocci, who is a starting linebacker. So we'll get more into that.
For the Titans. Their starting offensive tackle, J.C. Latham, did not practice for a second straight day.
I did see Kevin Zeitler got back to practice,
Yes.
one of their offensive linemen. But, corner-wise, they're a little banged up.
Yeah, L'Jarius Sneed did not practice either yesterday for a second straight day due to a back injury, so they're banged up.
Yeah, so a little banged up there at corner, and then likely without their right tackle, it's looking like. And then, of course, all eyes, once again, on Bloomington coming up tomorrow night.
You see the shirt.
In what should be.
And for those listening, I got a big old eye on that shirt.
Atmosphere. The disrespect is real right now. Indiana, I see, is climbing to nearly a touchdown favorite at home over the Fighting Illini.
Nobody believes in your Illini.
It's fine.
Bielema announced
we like
yesterday.
it like that.
I think Illinois' top corner going to be out for this one. So Elijah Surratt, Omar Cooper and company, Fernando Mendoza, how much can they test a little bit of a banged-up secondary? Sounds like a banged-up secondary in South Bend as well. So
good.
Purdue
Fernando, throw me one, brother.
Let's talk more about the Notre Dame game. Go ahead. You got to win this game.
They will win this game.
You got to win this game.
They will.
Correct. Notre Dame has to win this game. Yes, that is the truest statement this show has made all week long.
Analysis.
Yes, you cannot lose to Purdue. Thank you for that.
But can you imagine
dial up Marcus Freeman?
Can you imagine going 0 for 3 and one of them against Purdue?
That would be horrific.
I can't imagine it. It ain't gonna happen.
Man, we are off and running, and we will tell you about all those things in great detail over the next 2 hours and 45 minutes. Dominic Miranda, Operation Football at 7:30. Greg Rakestraw, as always, on Friday morning at 8. Matt Taylor at 9, and all the updates and all the news as we get it right here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You've made it to Friday. It's going to be a terrific day, a terrific weekend of sports. We'll have it all right here for you on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. In fact, last night we broadcast Game 3 of a best-of-3 series between the Indiana Fever and the Atlanta Dream in a first-round WNBA playoff series. And for the first time in a decade, James Boyd, the Fever are moving on to the semifinals.
Special moment, special ending to that game. Shout out to Lexi Hull for cutting the lead to 1, coming up with a huge steal as well late, and the game winner was by Aaliyah Boston. And, of course, you're not even in that position without Kelsey Mitchell keeping you afloat in the first half.
Yeah, 87-85, the final score. Kelsey Mitchell, 24 points. Odyssey Sims, 16. Aaliyah Boston, terrific line last night. 14 points, 12 rebounds, even had 6 assists. Natasha Howard, 12 points and 6 boards. They move on, Kevin, to take on the Las Vegas Aces on Sunday. 3 o'clock, game 1 in a best-of-5 series. This starts to get tough.
Well, indeed. I didn't stay up, but it sounded like Asia Wilson was pretty special last night in a wild one there. So, yes, best of 5 now as we transition forward. Again, for those that haven't been paying attention, the Aces have been incredible over the final month or two of the season, but Seattle took them to the brink. So, yes, back to our WNBA playoff games during NFL Sundays.
Yeah, you talk about taking them to the brink last night. That was a game that went right down to the very end, and it looked like Seattle might escape with a victory there, but no, it was the Aces winning 74-73, and they win that series 2-1. Asia Wilson, 38 points last night, JB.
Best player in the world. She was named, I believe, the co-defensive player of the year, her and Elena Smith. I'm saying that correctly. And actually, Elena Smith of the Lynx used to play for the Fever, so shout out to the former Fever player there.
All right, NFL, the Colts take on the Titans. Put them all together in one word there. That'll be Sunday afternoon at 1. You gave a brief update on injuries after practice yesterday, Kevin. Can you go over that again for everybody just joining us?
Yeah, Tyler Warren was limited. He did participate, was limited yesterday, so a good sign there. You know, typically if you practice on a Thursday and you don't have a setback, I would say very good chance you play in that game. Curious if they'll scale back play time at all. Josh Downs was full yesterday. Again, he was absent on Wednesday. Again, continues to be good news for Mooney Ward. Latu still limited, but the fact that he's participating, a good sign. Joe Bacci, their starting linebacker next to Zaire Franklin. He was the only Colts player not to practice due to injury yesterday. Grover Stewart sat out with rest. So that will be the one to watch today. I think it was a quad injury, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. For Joe Bacci.
So I don't know what that means. More Cameron Grown, potentially. Is Anthony Walker get a call-up from the practice squad? I think the linebacker position has been very blah this season, so I'll be curious to see how they handle that.
All right, that'll be coming your way at 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. The pregame starts at 10 here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. And again, you'll be able to listen to Game 1 of the WNBA playoff series between the Fever and the Aces over at 93 WIBC. That one will start at 3 o'clock. College football comes your way tomorrow down in Bloomington. 7:30 kickoff tomorrow night. IU hosting Illinois. It's a 6:30 pregame start here on The Fan for that football game. And there he is, full Illinois paraphernalia and gear. James Boyd, your alma mater, walking into the Lion's Den.
And we walking out with some coats. Okay, we walking out looking real good after that. So I'm excited for that matchup. I do think it'll be a fun game, and, you know, I love to talk trash. I will not stop doing that. So this time, come Monday, perhaps I am still talking trash or I'm eating crow. But either way, I'm excited for the game.
And the spread continues to get larger in favor of IU on that one, Kevin.
Yeah, I think it's up to 6 right now. So, again, Illinois' top corner, Brett Bielema announced unlikely to play. So we'll see how much Indiana's passing offense can take advantage of that. And I've said it all week long. College game day, frankly, should be there. It should be just an awesome, awesome atmosphere. And if you're Indiana, considering you go to Oregon and to Penn State, this is one you really, really need. You know, when you think about building out a resume, you think about where Illinois is right now in terms of rankings and all of that. I think it probably matters more to Indiana than it does to Illinois.
All right, big home game for the Hoosiers. Also, the Boilermakers playing at home against Notre Dame. And look, Notre Dame still hanging around the top 25 despite 2 early losses against really good teams, I'll point out. But they have a get-right game against the Boilermakers tomorrow in West Lafayette.
Yeah, they just need a win, period. They'll be without their captain, Adon Schuler, for the first half at safety. Sounds like they could be down a couple corners. So Purdue has an opportunity, I think, in the first half to potentially take advantage of that. And Notre Dame's defense has been shoddy at best through the first 2 weeks. So, yeah, right around 24, 25 points here. And we'll see if Notre Dame can get their first one of the season.
Kevin will be in the house, so that over is going to hit.
Indeed, Rosie Bowen and I in the building tomorrow.
That's going to be fun. By the way, how was the birthday last night? Good?
It was good. Yeah. Boy, the fettuccine Alfredo certainly hit the waistline.
I feel like Rosie's gonna you should have her give the pregame speech.
She wanted hot dogs and popcorn.
My dad's birthday just passed.
She definitely wants popcorn.
A little sad about the first two outcomes.
Probably a little more burger than hot dog, but I think we can make that happen.
All right. Last night there was one game in the National Football League. Thursday night belonged to the Buffalo Bills, 31-21, although it was 28-21 late, James, and Tua throws an interception, the only turnover of the game, and they looked like they were on their way to at least getting a field goal. They needed a game-tying touchdown in that fourth quarter, but that was all she wrote. Bills took it back down, scored a field goal, called it good.
All right, repeat it with me, folks. Bad teams find a way to lose. And that's what the Dolphins did. Even before the interception, they stopped the Bills and forced a punt, and then they had a roughing the punter, roughing the kicker penalty that gave the Bills another opportunity, and they went down and scored the go-ahead touchdown. So, again, you look back at those mistakes you make, you cannot give Josh Allen, a quarterback of that caliber, more chances. And also, shout out to Josh Allen. He just seems like a great human being. I saw him walking in for the game, dapping up everybody, saying what's up. I know he's wearing a new hat this year as well to some of the games that are custom made by some of the kids, I believe, fighting cancer out there in Buffalo. So shout out to Josh Allen, great human being.
I was thinking, too, it's just crazy week after week how close Vegas gets on these. Wasn't 31.5 the over-under for the Bills scoring in that game last night? And they hit 31. I know that yesterday Hammer had come in, and I think he said Khalil Shakir was around 42.5 for yards, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
45 yards receiving last night.
And again, Miami did cover. So for those out there that took the underdog and the biggest
12.5, right?
spread of the year, yeah, they were able to cover that one last night.
All right, so that's what's happening in the National Football League. And don't look now, Mark Dykton.
Mm-hmm.
Here come the Redlegs.
And there's still 2 games back on the wild card, even after a win.
They shut out the Cubs 1-0. Hunter Green was electric.
Are you saying they're
night.
running just in standstill motion? They're running in mud. Hunter Green with a historic performance last night, and they don't gain any ground.
He did his part, 1-0. He had a complete game last night, 9 strikeouts. And his stuff in the 9th inning was still electric.
Yeah, strikeout to ice it, just awesome. And I remember there was a game last year where they pulled him in the 7th or 8th, kind of in the similar fashion. I was so mad about it. I'm like, September baseball, you got to be riding your ace as long as you can here, especially where you are. Last night, they stayed in there with them. So awesome performance. But unfortunately, this is why the Reds are dead. They need help and help and help. And the New York Mets gave them none of it yesterday. So they stay 2 back.
Mets beat the Padres by a score of 6-1 last night. Did you see Clayton Kershaw announced that he will retire at the end of the year?
I was surprised that was news. I was like, didn't I watch the All-Star game and they all acted like he was going to retire? Did I miss something here? I guess I missed the official announcement.
Yeah, he had a press conference yesterday and very emotional. His wife and 3 kids, his pregnant wife and 3 kids, I think maybe 4 kids were there. But he 3 Cy Young awards, 11 All-Star appearances, 222 wins, and all of them, James, in this day and age with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Great player. And I know he took some heat earlier in his career for not winning in the playoffs, not performing as great in the playoffs, but got a World Series ring recently, and will probably be going to the Hall of Fame someday.
All right, Indians beat the Gwinnett Stripers 6-3. They play again tonight at 7:05. High school football comes your way next. Operation Football with Channel 13's Dominic Miranda right around the corner on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
And you say Shot City.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Good morning. Welcome into Friday. It's football, and I misspoke a moment ago, and I've been made very aware that Purdue will be on the road at Notre Dame on Saturday.
There you go, in South Bend.
Kevin's disgusted.
Anyway, Kevin is going to be happy at the end of that night is what I think is going to happen. But we're going to be happy tonight because we got high school football in the air.
How happy are you going to be, Kevin?
It's going to be do you not believe in Notre Dame to get a big win here at home? Come on.
Dominic Miranda joins us now. Shout out the home of Mackenzie Weiser out there, Mooresville, I believe, for Dominic Miranda on this Friday morning. Dom, good morning to you, sir. How's the energy?
Oh, my goodness. Okay, get this. There was a triple conjunction in the sky this morning, which means we could see Venus right beside the moon.
Yeah.
So when I got here at Mooresville High School at 6 a.m., 6 bells, I looked up. The moon was smiling at me. There was a crisp in the air. We're halfway through high school football in the state of Indiana. And Mooresville absolutely brought it, and they fed me. So I'm pumped up.
Did you bring a telescope to the 50-yard line? What else you got out there? Jeez, this is a planetarium for Dominic Miranda on this Friday
morning. I've learned a
morning.
lot this morning already.
Man.
I was geeking out because I wouldn't have known except our weather guy put something on Instagram about it. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I was like, wait, I'll be awake to look up and see it. So I saw it, started out the day on a great note, and Mooresville's our front runner for Spirit Award. I'll tell you that much. Holy cow, was it awesome this morning.
All right. Well, yeah, give us the rundown. How was Mooresville this morning? And also, big one tonight against Decatur Central. So how are they feeling about that matchup, knowing that they're trying to knock off Decatur Central, I believe, for the first time in a couple of years?
Yes. Okay, so I was talking to Mike Gillen, head coach here, who's been the head coach for a while.
Didn't he coach at both schools, I believe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yes, very good. He's been a couple of different places. Great guy. He looks like a pioneer. I mean, let me tell you. This school reminds me of like West Virginia. That's the vibe it gives me. Mooresville is like West Virginia Mountaineers. And okay, fun fact also, their principal, I'm just going way off the rails here already, but their principal is a spitting image of Brian Dable. Crazy. I'm like, before I could even get it out of my mouth, he's like, yes, I hear it all the time. So kind of funny, but yeah. So they only went 4-7 a year ago, and they're 3-1 this season. Only losses to a ranked Plainfield team. So a huge game at home against 6A, first year in 6A, Decatur Central, who sputtered a bit out the gate, but has got their footing here as the year has gone on. That's a great matchup for Mooresville, a good measuring stick here tonight at home. But Mike Gillen said the boys will be ready. It's their homecoming. There are a lot of homecomings around the state today, and it's going to be a great night for football. But, man, gracious hosts. I even crowd surfed a little bit, broke that out for the first time this season. So I thought I had energy, but these kids were off the charts energetic this morning.
I was like, is this the, a rave, or what are we doing this morning?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's like the snake pit at the 500.
That's right. Operation Football Sunrise Kickoff, man. We don't play. We don't play around here.
I got to love it, and I love the energy, and I love all the games coming up tonight. I have a feeling what you're going to say, but Dominic Miranda, Channel 13, Operation Football, what are you guys most excited about and focusing on tonight?
Okay, so our game of the week is a top 10 battle in 6A. Brownsburg, who looks like primed to go back-to-back with State. Unbelievable offensive output this season, fresh off a 55-47 win over Avon last week. Just an offensive explosion. Our camera guy was there for about 10 minutes and got 3 touchdowns over 60 yards. That's just insane. They host Fishers, who's coming off a huge win in the Mudstock game last week over HSC. After a tough loss to Carmel to start the year, Fishers has been awesome this season. So really looking forward to that matchup. Almost game of the week 1B for me. Top rank, and has an argument to be game of the week for us tonight. It was a tough choice, but 5A top ranked New Pal, who's been absolutely mowing everyone down, scored over 70 points last week, by the way. Hosting Pendleton Heights, top 10 in 4A. I'm very interested in that matchup, so we'll be there as well. Then you got Westfield and HSC tonight, Columbus North Carmel, Franklin Central Avon, Warren Central Ben Davis. Great matchups all the way around, primarily in Class 6A. Man, the football's been awesome to start this season, but I'm excited to see every time I watch Brandon Sharp play, excited to watch him play. Fishers has some great talent as well. You talk about a marquee win possibility for Fishers. It is tonight, but it's also Brownsburg's homecoming, and that's one of the best, if not the best, student section I've ever seen. So we'll see. Both student sections are awesome. It should be a lot of fun at Brownsburg.
So I do want to pivot there for one last little thing on Brownsburg and Fishers. So Carson Elam's the cornerback going to Wisconsin, going up against, I would imagine, Brendan Sharp, who is one of the better wide receivers in the state and has some Division I opportunities on his plate. So what do you look forward to seeing, I guess, in that matchup? Because you usually don't see that level of talent going head up, I would imagine, in a high school setting.
Yeah, like I was doing some recon on Carson Elam's last night because, I mean, what a stud. And whoever is guarding, I mean, I always look at the rankings of recruits in the state of Indiana just for all the games I'm going to. So they're on my radar for highlights later that night. But to have a corner going to Wisconsin and to have a wide receiver probably going to the, Big Ten as well, if I had to guess, that's just my prognostication here early on in his recruiting process. But, you don't see that wide receiver on corner matchup in Indiana primarily. And Elam's, I was watching some tape of his last night too, just because I don't have a life and I love football. But he is so twitchy, and he's as fast as he is physical. I mean, he'll man you up at the line, but he has chase down speed as well. Like, Wisconsin getting a good one. But that I am so excited to see that matchup. I have to believe that. I mean, Elam's is guarding Sharp, or else what are we doing here? I have to believe that's happening. But yeah, that's going to be awesome. I think Fishers can win this game. I do. Brownsburg's really, really good, but I wouldn't be shocked at all. And again, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We have a ton of great matchups tonight.
Damn, 47 years for Mike Gillen. Obviously Bud Wright's in a different stratosphere now that he's finally hung it up, but 371 career wins. I mean, this dude coached in 1984. Ryan Bowen was born in 84, and hell, he's old as hell right now. I mean, it's incredible this dude's still coaching.
Yeah, and he let me tell you something, just as energetic. He was I thought he was going to do a cartwheel. He acted like he was going to, okay? And I think he could. He doesn't look a day over 60, I'm telling you. I don't know how old he is. I'm assuming he's like a pretty experienced guy, coaching 47 years, whatever it was. But he's been a ton of places, won a ton of places also. And like I said, Mooresville 4-7 last year, already 3-1 this year. Turn around quick. And I love their facilities here too, like just cool. They had a picture of me with a coonskin cap on, just awesome stuff. Like, I tell you, it was awesome. But yeah, Coach Gillen was great. We talked to him a bit in our second big hit on WTHR Plus, but I think he could beat me up still. He's in great shape.
Oh gosh, that would be a hell of a Friday Operation Football a little morning. Save that for the playoffs when Mooresville makes their run here. All right, Dom, you tried to talk me off the ledge with Notre Dame last week. It didn't work. They're 0-2. Are we firing Chris Ash?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
People losing jobs this morning.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm usually Captain Eternal Optimist here, and I don't know what to make of what I watched on Saturday night. That was tough. I mean, 40 points should win you a ball game, and how perfect that it was Tyler Buckner. This wasn't the reason they lost, but Tyler Buckner buffing the hole. Like, how perfect was that in a terrible way? This defense needs to figure it out. They're getting zero rush in the quarterback. They're not sending pressure a lot. They're playing soft coverage. Hobbs can't play. Gray looks hobbled. Like, I don't know. Drastic changes. There's two schools of thought here. You're 4 points away from being top 3 in the country, or you're 0-2 and your defense is a far cry from what it was a year ago with largely the same personnel, which I think is the most head-scratching and why all eyes are on Chris Ash, because you have minus D tackle, right, and Xavier Watts, who's an All-American. Like, you have largely the same cast of characters. So I think that's what's so frustrating about it. But 10 straight wins is the expectation, has to happen. But even still, you don't have that data point of a Texas A&M win that you had a year ago. But just as the offense improved from week 1 to week 12 last year, I guess Chris Ash is just going to have to earn his respect from me, that the defense is going to have to look like a different unit from week 2 to week 12 this year. And we'll see if they sneak in. I wouldn't want to play Notre Dame if they win 10 straight with C.J. Carr, future Heisman winner at quarterback. That's all I have to say.
I will give you one more chance to hype everything up for tonight. Tell everybody about Operation Football, when, where, how, and what they'll see.
Okay, yes. Game of the week, Brownsburg, Fishers. Game of the week 2, basically. New Pal and Pendleton Heights. We'll be at Ben Davis. We'll be at Avon. We'll be at Carmel. We'll be at Tri-West. And, of course, we will be here at Mooresville. It's going to be fun. 8 games for you, maybe more tonight at 11 live in studio. So what a great weekend for football. Colts trying to be 3-0 in Nashville. We'll be there. Illinois, IU. I know James Boyd's pumped up for that one.
Yes, sir.
We'll also be there. Eli Gaines on a red eye back from Atlanta right now. And how about the Fever? Oh, my goodness. I stayed up for that game last night. What a win. Stephanie White, unbelievable job. I forget the question, but great high school football tonight. Fever are awesome, and great football all throughout the weekend. Couldn't be pumped. You can watch it all on Channel 13. Nope, no, we don't sleep. Are you kidding me? We sleep in May.
I was
just
about
like
to say,
John Rothstein said.
the MMJs.
Or not
I
in
know,
May. Wait.
Yeah, the
We don't sleep
multimedia
in May
journalists. Nah, no sleeping around here. Do you have a prediction for us as we head to Tennessee? The last one I got for you. Colts, Tennessee Titans, first division game. What do you have on the scorecard?
Okay, I think it is going to be Colts 27, Titans 10. How about that? I think it's a solid win for the Colts. Titans, look, Cam Ward's the truth now, and he's going to be good, but they're just not there yet, and the Colts are humming. I like it. On the road, big win on the road. That's what I'm expecting. We'll see if they can follow through and be 3-0 for the first time since 2009.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much as always. Love your energy. Love what you do. Operation Football, Channel 13 tonight. Check it out.
All right, you guys are the best. See ya.
Dominic Miranda. Literally, I need that energy injected right there.
Yeah, I mean, special dude, and also KB's doppelganger. So you got that again, Kevin. I don't think you all will live this down now.
Vocal doppelganger.
Yeah, now that it's been established, I feel like people are just going to lean into that even more.
I know every week
I still
people
don't
are chiming
hear it
in
that
about
much. I feel like I hear it less now because I'm more aware of it, but I digress. Dominic is a great human being, and he wasn't lying. Quite the week for Indiana sports, or weekend really coming up with the Fever having a playoff game Sunday. Obviously, Colts game Sunday, and then a big Friday night here coming up for high school football.
Now, I'm curious, Kevin, do you feel better about Notre Dame? Because by the end of his, he started talking about Chris Ash, but by the end of his response, he was talking about 10 in a row and Heisman trophies.
Well, when he said C.J. Carr Heisman Trophy, it made me feel that was the best birthday present that I've gotten here over the last 24 hours. Thank you, Dominic Miranda,
so
for
you feel
that.
better today.
I do.
All right.
Somewhere Rosie Bowen is like, okay, Fettuccine Alfredo wasn't enough, Pops. Not enough?
Oh, 10 in a row. I mean, it's just you can't even talk about 10 in a row. You got to win one. Damn. I mean, you're at Arkansas next week. You got USC. You got whatever. NC State, I think's undefeated. Come on now, you can't be talking about 10 in a row just yet.
No, let's just get one for your sake. I know Todd Meyer would love to see Purdue.
Didn't Purdue move the ball up and down the field on USC?
They did okay.
Notre Dame's got all these
secondary
secondary
mistakes. They made a bunch of mistakes that cost them, but yeah, they did okay. As far as doing okay, 27-10 prediction he had for the Colts in Nashville against the Titans. I could see it happening, but 17 points in an NFL game, that's a lot of points. 27-10.
Yeah, we'll give our predictions later this show for sure. But getting back to the Fever a little bit, Mark, I sent you some audio earlier, and I would love for people to hear this because I think this kind of encapsulates just how special this season is, what it means to advance, and also just so many moving parts. You have a new head coach, not new head coach to the league, but new to the franchise. Stephanie White coming back to the Fever. You got Kelsey Mitchell winning her first playoff series after being with such a, program and franchise that had been losing for so long, and then you find a way on the road last night. So one of my buddies, Meg Hall, who covers the league for USA Today, she had a chance to ask the players, what does Stephanie White mean to you? We've heard how much you mean to her. Roles reversed. What do you have to say? Here's what they said about their head coach.
This question is for Kelsey. Coach White has done a good job of talking about how much you guys mean to her. What does she mean to you? Maybe you as well, Tasha, if you want to jump in.
I've had 5 coaches in 8 years. I've been on, the worst, record teams here in Indiana Fever. So I know where my career started at. I know what I've kind of had to go through to kind of be in this position. I've never had a coach that poured into me respectfully like Steph has. I go where I'm valued, and I've never really felt that as a pro. And so for the first time in my career, I really feel like I have someone that values what I bring to the table as a player and a person. not just a player, but as a person. And so I always love Steph because she gave me an opportunity to kind of be who I am. And it's hard to do that and be that as a professional athlete. And when you find coaches that believe in you, I'll never take it for granted. So thank you, Coach.
For me, I'm just grateful to be able to get back to Indiana and be able to be next to the coach that coached me my second year in the league, and just her believing in me, trusting in me to lead this team. It's a lot of weight on my shoulder, but hey, I've been through it before, and I can do it. And just she does an amazing job for every person, just not just me and Kelsey, but every single person on the team that she believes in, and she pours into every single person. It doesn't matter how you play, how many minutes you're going to get. She's going to tell you be ready at all times. Go out there and do your part. And that's one thing I love about Steph, how she believes in every single person. She trusts us no matter what.
Now, as they're saying these responses, you have Stephanie White wiping tears away from her eyes after a dramatic win and kind of getting her flowers there while she can still smell them. So quite the moment for that team, and something I wanted to highlight because I think that, again, sums up what this season has been for them. Yes, it's been trying. It's been hard. It's been injury-riddled, but they found a way and did it together. And then when you look at that locker room celebration afterwards, the joy, the, I think, conviction, and also kind of like just this, middle finger to everybody else mentality is a good thing for this group. And so, yeah, as Tyrese Halliburton said last week when he was at Game 2, or earlier this week, for Game 2 at Gamebridge, he said, hey, nothing like playoff basketball at Gamebridge Fieldhouse, and we'll get at least one more game of it coming up here soon.
Yeah, it was terrific to watch them just continue to evolve through all of the losses, from Caitlin Clark to Sophie Cunningham to just go on and on down the list. Mark, you also have the cut from Stephanie White where she's talking about the togetherness of this team that kept them together throughout all of the losses and all the things. But she has been consistent on that throughout the year about just their resiliency and how tight they are and how they constantly, Kevin, just pick one another up week after week after week.
Yeah, they've asked Stephanie White to glue together a Kevin Bowen art project from back in the day. That's what she's had to do. She's had to pick up the pieces. And, we didn't mention, or we failed to mention, DeWanna Bonner just quit on the team, upright, a month into the season, 2 months into the season there. And to be one of the Final Four teams, pretty darn remarkable. So, again, we talked about it to lead off the show. There's all these different sports stories, pretty special sports stories, throughout the last calendar year, whether it's IU football, whether it's Notre Dame football, whether it's Purdue basketball doing Purdue basketball things, obviously the Pacers, and now the Fever. More of a resilient story than anything. Obviously, we'll see what happens coming up here in the semifinals, but a hell of a story.
Yeah, here was Stephanie White just returning all the kind words that her teammates and their players were giving her on their season so far.
This is a group that's confidence has really never wavered. We've been in every kind of situation you can imagine, and we've been able to find ways to put ourselves in position to win, and this will be no different. Obviously, it's going to be on the opponent's home floor, but, it doesn't matter. I think for us, our if we maintain our attention to detail, if we continue the defensive effort that we had tonight, and we shoot with confidence, we give ourselves a chance. And this group is continued to show their heart, their character, night in and night out.
And they have done that, and they just continue to roll on. And much like the Pacers, who had a rough start, since starting 2-4, this team, if you include the Commissioner's Cup, 25-16 since then. They just keep coming back and coming back and coming back, and they will start their 5-game semifinal series, James, at Las Vegas for the first 2 games. And if there is one, little nick in the armor here for this team, they have not played particularly well on the road all year long.
Yeah, and I would say the other nick is you're going to be against the best player in the world in Asia Wilson. So that is certainly a tall task for this team.
They set a franchise record for road wins this year. Am I wrong on that?
I would have to look up. I was trusting Jeff there. But getting back to –
won the Commissioner's Cup on the road against the Lynx.
Yeah, but getting back to the matchup itself, I think Asia Wilson obviously atop the scouting report for that team. She's the best player in the world, like I said. And they have 3 other Olympians on that team in Jackie Young, former Indiana high school basketball legend, Chelsea Gray, and Jewel Lloyd.
Jewel Lloyd off the bench.
Yeah, and Jewel Lloyd, former Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Yeah, I'm just looking over their losses, and the majority, obviously, it's going to happen everywhere, but they just keep getting results one way or the other. They come back and they win. They got a big win on the road last night, so they carried over that momentum from the other night, just scrappy. One of the things I did notice last night, too, James, they did a really nice job of getting their post players passes in the post last night over and over and over. They did a really nice job of that. So
Yeah, I thought Aaliyah Boston was big time late, and I also thought she showed some pretty good composure there. I know it got a little dust up at one point throughout the game. She got her arm pinned by Brianna Jones. I have no problem with that reaction because you can get injured like that. So glad she's healthy, showed some fire and some grit there. And then again, just the poise you saw from the Fever was in stark contrast from what we saw from the Atlanta Dream, who took some of the worst shots and made some of the worst decisions you'll see, and it cost them their season.
All right, coming up in a minute, we'll talk to Greg Rakestraw about all things football and Indiana sports. Matt Taylor comes your way at 9 o'clock, the voice of the Indianapolis Colts. We'll even check out the fan text line for the first time today at 239-1070. It's all straight ahead, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Little Depeche Mode on a Friday morning. Mark Dykton? Digging that. You know Depeche Mode, James?
No idea.
All right. Does that make us old, Mark? I don't know what that makes us.
Keep me out of that conversation. I'm a young man. Young at heart.
Young at heart, always on the go, always telling us what's going on.
Deep
that would be
repertoire.
Greg Rakestraw joining us now on the Payless Liquors hotline. You're a Depeche Mode guy, right, Greg?
Absolutely. Now, this is the very young and poppy Depeche Mode, not the early 90s kind of pre-runners of goth and emo Depeche Mode, but much like Office Space, I celebrate the entire catalog.
I like it. You got a big catalog of high school football games coming up tonight. I know you're excited about that. We were talking to Dominic Miranda, Operation Football Channel 13, a minute ago. Where are your eyes on high school football tonight?
So Ben Davis and Warren Central is my game. They are meeting for the 101st time. They have played every year since 1937. Warren leads the overall series, but this has been remarkably even as of late. The last 16 games have been split 8 apiece. 3 of the last 4 games have been decided by a field goal or less. And I think the last time I was in the call of this game, Warren came from behind to win 57-56. So anything can happen in one of what is truly one of the state's great rivalry games.
So, Rake, we look at Ben Davis. They're usually perennially a very good team. They're 1-3 this year, lost a lot of talent to graduation, one of them being Mr. Football, Mark Zachary. So what do you see for this team tonight and how they could possibly pull off an upset against Warren Central?
Well, they found their offense, and that's impressive because, well, you kind of need that to score, and B, they're playing a freshman quarterback. And so the fact they put up 35 against Center Grove last week was pretty impressive. Problem is they give up 63 points. Now, Warren is not the offensive team that Center Grove is. Center Grove is one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the state. Warren is probably more of a right around 10th. I think they're rated 11th this week. I think that's fair for them. Warren's defense is not as dominant as it was a year ago, but it is still kind of what carries that team. Warren is kind of figuring some things out offensively. But for Ben Davis, keep the offense going, and if you can get the ground game going, that might be your best defense tonight, knowing that Ben Davis has been undersized defensively this year. They are playing some seniors, but a lot of these are kids that have been backups over the course of the last couple of years. So I think having that offense continue and maybe keep their defense off the field is probably the best way to go for Russ Mann's group tonight.
Rake, not often we say so many college football eyes should be on the state in the month of September, particularly the state in Bloomington, but that is the case here coming up tomorrow night, Indiana and Illinois. First off, the atmosphere should be absolutely through the roof. Secondly, massive, I think, early season playoff implications. I know it sounds weird to say, but how would you kind of describe what this means for Kurt Cignetti's second season?
I think that massive playoff implications is the way to go. What stunned me, and not stunned, but it's just, again, it shows you where Indiana football has gotten so fast in less than 2 seasons. I think that the ticket resale price was like $160 to get in. Parking was like, again, on the resale market was like $200. That's kind of a sign this is a rather important game. These are programs that have occasionally been good, frankly, Illinois more than Indiana, but they rarely have been good simultaneously. So the fact that this is the NBC game and one of the most important games of the weekend is jaw-dropping. But I also think that this game, frankly, has more importance for Indiana than it does Illinois. I'm not sure Indiana gets back in the CFP conversation if they were to lose at home in this one. So I think this is huge for both teams, probably a little bit bigger for Indiana.
Greg Rakestraw on the Payless Liquors hotline. Here's a straight-out question for you because you watch every play and do the post-game and do the preseason games on television. How good are the Colts?
They've been damn good so far. They've been amongst one of the best teams, and I found myself checking NFL power rankings again, which I hadn't had to worry about over the course of the last few years, and I'm not sure the great importance of them in the first place. But this has been fun. Obviously, I think you know the stat by now, 2-0 for the first time in 16 years. And By the way, folks, we'll be able to keep giving that stat as long as the Colts keep winning. That stat's good for like 12 more weeks if the Colts keep winning since the 2009 team. Defensively, obviously, was a regression last week. Sean Payton can really coach. Bo Nix is really good. You've got a little tape around. You didn't have Mooney Ward. That changes. You didn't have Laiatu Latu. That changes as well. So defensively, it was a step back, no doubt. But what this team's been able to do offensively, knowing what the ultimate question was going into the season, that has been wonderful to see. So offensively, I think this group's pretty good. And it's the first time we've said that since probably the 2020 season.
So, Rick, I want to pivot back to high school football for just a second. I got a chance to see Charlie Spiegel, the state's all-time leading rusher at New Pal years ago, and I thought no one would ever come close to his rushing record, over 10,000 rushing yards, most in state history. But then you got Miles McLaughlin from Knox High School. He ran for 9 touchdowns, I believe, last week, over 400 yards. And so he's climbing that chart. He's second right now. What do you make of his career and what it could mean to possibly come close, if not break that record? I know they have to go on a run at the end of the year, I believe, to mathematically make it possible, but just the fact that it's a conversation.
Yep, you have couched that properly. I thought Spiegel put that record so far out into the distance that nobody would even get within, eye shot of it. So the fact that there is a young man a handful of years later that has that possibility is remarkably impressive. Knox would, again, have to go on a deep run, and Knox is a team it's kind of quirky. They're a 3A school that plays primarily in a 1A, 2A league just because those are their natural rivals. They're kind of the biggest town in a 2 or 3 county area that's not overly populated. So just kind of the nature of it. He should be able to rack up some pretty significant rushing totals for the final 5 weeks of the regular season. Can they go deeper into the playoffs? I think they may have been a regional team last year.
You are
if
correct.
I remember right. Again, I've been to Knox, not normally a team that is kind of on my radar, but we'll see how things play out. But you phrased it properly. The fact that we're having the conversation tells you all you know about the special career that young man has had.
Rick, last one from me, and I get that it's maybe let's dust off the summer topics, but there was some relevancy for the reason behind this. Did you see Kyle Nenrip's poll earlier this week in regards to a shot clock in Indiana high school basketball by chance?
The positive result was 63%. Is that what I saw?
Yeah, so Kentucky, I believe, as a state,
correct,
they will go with the shot clock here coming up for the high school basketball season. Kyle put out a poll in regards to Indiana. What do you think about adding a shot clock in Indiana high school basketball? Did it surprise you? Only 63% said yes to it, yes beyond time. 20% said no need. 10% said trial run and 4A. 5% said they're torn.
I'm surprised that instead of only 63%, you said that it was as many as 63%.
Really?
As somebody that broadcasts in the neighborhood of 65 to 70 high school games in the course of a year, I just don't see – people are not standing in the corner and putting the ball on their hip. Where you see it is at the end of a quarter where a team will try to hang on for 45 seconds to a minute, not just stall and take the air out of the basketball. The team locally that obviously will run the longest sets is Carmel. That is the team that is, going to run the offense until they get the look they want. But you see it from Lawrence North, you see it from Ben Davis. So this is not you go to your bar you want to win a game 8-6. That's not the way the game is played anymore. You frankly see it more here in the 4A level, just because you've got really good coaches that are like, all right, we're going to control tempo at least for the end of a quarter, or we're going to run a specific set without a shot clock until we get the look that we want to have. And so I don't think it's necessary. Now, the reason that I have told people why it also isn't going to happen, this more applies to the 1A and 2A. You have to have over 400 shot clock operators. You will have to ask schools to spend money and upgrade and update facilities. At the larger schools, those shot clocks already exist. They're already there. It's how you display the time above the backboard. And so that's just adding a switch. That's not a big deal. At some smaller places, that is not the case. So there's an expense and more personnel that is required, which is frankly the biggest reason why I don't think it has happened in this state. So frankly, at some point it's going to happen because the National Federation will mandate it happens. And then once that is the case, Indiana will have to go forward with it. But just because Kentucky has it, that frankly may be more reason for Indiana to not have it.
Right. I want to say Illinois, my home state, will implement the shot clock this upcoming basketball season. So I am very curious to see how that goes because, as we know, I love high school sports, but the refs get yelled at enough as it is, the scorekeepers and the shot clock operators. But I would imagine if you have a shot clock, a real one in a game, that'll take some kinks to get through. So very curious on that front. But to pivot to more pressing issues, the Colts are 2-0. They're going to Tennessee. First division game of the season. Rake, how do they stay undefeated and avoid the trap game in Nashville?
Well, this is a learning experience for this football team. And while this level of success is new to this group, this is where the veteran status kicks in. We talk about, what Tyler Warren is doing and the huge impact he has had, but it's not like there are a lot of rookies that are involved in this Colts success. These are guys that have been around, and these are guys that know. And so I don't think this group's going to be fat and happy going to Tennessee. I also think that if this was the previous defensive scheme that was more about kind of laying back and waiting for the quarterback to make a mistake, how many times have we said, hey, man, look at the great passing completion this young quarterback has had against this Colts defense. It's not exactly how Lou Anarumo's defense is wired. So I think this sets up for the Colts to be successful coming up on Sunday afternoon.
And actually, one last one. We saw the Fever survive last night in advance of the semifinals on the road in Atlanta. They actually finished this year with their most road wins in the regular season. They were 11-22 on the road. And they also had the Commissioner's Cup Championship, which is another road win, doesn't count. But their resiliency, Rake, what do you make of it? And also them capturing their first playoff series victory since they went to the finals in 2015 with one Tamika Catchings.
I thought the best comparison as to what the Fever were and what the Fever are, Scott Agnes showed a picture of the last Fever playoff game at the Fieldhouse in 2016. And the covers were up in the upper deck. The lower bowl was maybe a third full. And that was basically the end of the line for Tamika Catchings. That was, one of her last games, if not her last game, with the Indiana Fever. So the fact that you can say any franchise had not, won a playoff game or a playoff series in 9 years or 10 years is jaw-dropping. And again, let's acknowledge that's, being one of the bottom four teams in your league for 7 seasons. It's pretty remarkable where you are now. Then you give the fact that, if this was the old days of Twitter, when you were limited to 140 characters, you would not be able to get all of the injured Fever players on one tweet. The way that they send them out, the injury report. It would be like the Dead Sea Scrolls of Twitter to list all of the injured players that this team has. So they were playing with house money, just making the playoffs, letting alone winning a series, let alone winning a Game 3, a decisive game on the road. And frankly, as I am watching that unfold last night, and they scored the final 7 points to it on the road in the last 2 minutes, didn't it feel like April, May, and June around here?
Oh,
Isn't
absolutely.
it amazing?
Absolutely.
The symmetry the folks at Patient Sports Entertainment have had in 2025.
Good stuff. Greg, you might be my last holdout because I know you and I share this common fandom. Am I the last guy in Indiana or in this region holding out however slim hope that the Reds can make that final wild card?
I mean, they're 2 games back with 9 to play, right?
Yep.
I mean, they've not done anything consistently over, most of the season to let you think that's going to happen. But simply the math keeps us paying attention, not to mention something quite rare, a complete game shutout by any pitcher these days that was authored by Hunter Green yesterday.
Let's go. Let's go. Now you got me fired up again, Greg. Thank you.
Good. That's what I'm here for.
All right. Yeah. Mark wants us both to name 5 Reds players.
Well, I know Greg can.
We can go around the diamond if you want to later on.
Sure.
It's up to you guys.
Sure.
All right. Greg, thank you. Appreciate it, buddy.
See you guys.
There you go. So we got a lot. Look, this is the kind of season and the type of year we live for. Got unbelievable high school football tonight. Big games in college football coming up tomorrow. Colts are undefeated right now. That's 2-0. Undefeated, playing a divisional game. Like at Fever going to the semifinal. I don't know that it gets much better than this. Coming off a run from the Indiana Pacers.
One thing on the Colts front for Sunday, I better not go here Monday. And again, I don't think we'll have to go here Monday because I think the Colts are going to handle this one. But I can't listen to anybody that wants to call this a trap game. It's September 19th. You haven't won a division title in 10 years. It's your first road game of the year. It's your first division game of the year. There's nothing trappy about it. Like to me,
I think it's just a buzzword.
Trap game is like a 9 or 10 game grind. It's in the college football sense, it's Ohio State has Penn State and Michigan sandwiched around Rutgers. In the NFL sense, it's the Chiefs have whatever, the Chargers and the Eagles sandwiched around a Thursday night game with the Raiders. That like in November. That to me is a trap game. Nothing about this to me screams trap game. When you haven't had success, like it's week 3. I mean, are we already getting into the oh my gosh, you're on the mountaintop and you're overlooking teams? No. To me, the trap game, you have to have had a lot of recent success to kind of build up, I think, hype. And when you haven't won a division title in 10 years, the urgency should be through the roof to go down there, take care of business, win your first road game of the year, win your first division game of the year, and move to 3-0. So I can't listen to the trap game thought.
All right. Colts coming up on Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock on the road in Nashville.
I brought it up, Kevin. No, actually,
you're gonna be partying late Saturday night.
Yeah,
in Nashville.
I think it's just a buzzword from me. I don't look at it through that
I didn't
lens.
hear you bring it up at all.
But I kind of agree on that front. You cannot walk in there with any ounce of arrogance against a team like that. That's bad. That's that bad. And you have again a driver's seat kind of approach to the season so far for the AFC South.
Yeah, it's just too early in my mind for that stuff. Like, I get when their bye week is week 11, something like that. I get as you get, deeper into the month of October, early November, and you're on this kind of grind where, Colts have had really late bye weeks in recent years, that there can be some, whatever.
And no division game is going to be a trap game. Like that's who you see every year. You got to handle business.
I think you naturally will have an amped up level of energy first, the first road game of the year.
Absolutely.
Like you are, and again, I don't think Sunday's going to be very hostile by any means down there, but I think you just have that normal energy level that's there for a first road game.
And of course, you were mentioning the bye just a minute ago. Much closer to the middle of the season this year. I think just on the back half, but that might come at a perfect opportune time for them because they'll get an extra. They'll go to Berlin, obviously. Then they have the bye after that, and then they set up for a lot of divisional games coming out of that.
Yeah, I want to say they have Kansas City right out of the bye, if I'm not mistaken.
At Kansas City, too.
Yeah, obviously, boy, talk about urgency for Kansas City right now. Is that Sunday Night Football, Chiefs-Giants?
You know it.
That's an old clinch watch.
Yeah.
That's a good watch on Sunday night.
Mm-hmm. Two desperate teams.
Can you imagine old Russ getting a 80-yard drive for the win at the end there?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go parlay this week. I'm gonna go Notre Dame to cover against Purdue, and I'm gonna go Kansas City to cover against the Giants. I think those two teams are gonna get right this weekend.
We'll have to break it down in the next segment. Most entertaining game. That might be one of them. Sunday Night Football.
Have you seen Notre Dame play defense this year?
They'll get, as your man Dominic Miranda said, they'll just get better and better as the year goes along.
I think Dominic uttered those words last Friday, and we saw what happened.
By the end of the conversation, he was running off 10 in a row and getting a Heisman.
He did. He went Heisman poster, C.J. Carr.
He just talked himself into it slowly over the course
Dominic,
of the
I love
conversation,
you,
man.
Kevin, I love you too. That man ain't winning the Heisman.
Oh, come on. 2 years from now? A year from now?
2 years from now? I thought you meant this season. I was like, absolutely
just
not.
at some point in his career, I
don't want to speak for Dominic. I hope he didn't mean
Slow burn, James.
I was
Slow
just
burn.
making sure. Like, I'm like, are we delusional here? What's going on? How big is this Purdue game again? So, yeah.
All right, let's check it down, Mark Dykton.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
We're going to start with the Indiana Fever, who come up with a Game 3 win on the road against the Atlanta Dream, 87-85. They were down 10 at one point in this game, but they rallied. They made it happen, win the series 2-1, and now, as a reward, they get to play the Las Vegas Aces in a semifinal best-of-5 series, James.
Yeah, they've been road warriors this year. 11 road wins in the regular season, most in franchise history. And you got another big road game come Sunday against who I think will be the MVP in Asia Wilson, who was also, by the way, the co-defensive player of the year. So she's a talented player. She headlines Olympic-laden squad over there. So you got to be on your P's and Q's.
We were talking about this a minute ago, Kevin. This Fever team gives a lot of echoes and vibes of this past year's Pacers team, the way that they play.
Yeah, it's different in a way, though. Like, again, this is the story of injury resilience. The Pacers' story throughout the playoff run was just the cinema. It was the climactic moments.
Is this a preview of injury resilience?
Well,
I did see some highlights of Andrew Nembhard working out with Pascal Siakam.
Yeah.
I must say, the lead guard role looks pretty good right now.
So we will, again, obviously the euphoria of it speaks for itself, but still, I'd say slightly different. I would say one similarity last night, when that Fever final possession happened, the final one they scored on, I should say, Atlanta was quickly in scramble mode. They were like, okay, who's got who? And you could tell they were trying to switch, and they didn't really know. And Stephanie White didn't even hesitate. No timeout from her, and that's very Rick Carlisle. He's not a big believer in taking the timeout to allow that defense to get set, and sure enough, it took a little time, but they got the scramble mode because they did struggle late in that game to get Kelsey Mitchell some clean looks, and they had to have some others step up for them. And sure enough, after a little bit of scramble action, Aaliyah Boston got the eventual game-winning layup.
Yeah, Kelsey Mitchell leading the way with 24. Odyssey Sims, who's been terrific, JB, had 16 points. She's just been a wonderful addition for this team.
Yeah, I saw somebody kind of mention, hey, she's got to lay off a couple of different shots here and there, but I think that is what makes the coaching from Stephanie White so impressive, is because when you don't have your top dogs, and one of them being Caitlin Clark, and you have Kelsey Mitchell being face guarded and Aaliyah Boston's kind of a post player, the other shot creators on your roster, you kind of have to toggle with who you have in the lineup to make sure that you have the right players in at the right time. So it's not easy. They're all kind of flawed in a way, but I think Stephanie White has brought the best out of that group, and they're advancing to the semifinals. 14-12
last night for Aaliyah Boston. Again, game one of that best-of-5 series can be heard on 93 WIBC Sunday afternoon at 3 when they play at Las Vegas. And, of course, the Colts and Titans will be heard here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. That one kicks off at 1 from Nashville. Pregame starts at 10. Give us an update on the injuries after practice yesterday, Kevin Bowen.
Yeah, Tyler Warren did practice, Josh Downs as well. So good signs for both of those guys. I think typically when you do practice on a Thursday, assuming no setback, you should be good for that game. Actually, the Colts had every player on their team practice except one due to injury. That was Joe Bocci, their starting linebacker next to Zaire Franklin. So that will be one to monitor. Is that more of Cam McGrone if he can't go? With the linebacker play so far, I wouldn't mind seeing Anthony Walker get called up from the practice squad and just seeing what he can offer you, because I think that group overall has largely struggled this season. So that'll be the one to watch. But, yeah, the Colts injury report, definitely in a much better state today than it was yesterday.
College football tomorrow afternoon, chronologically, 3:30 p.m. Notre Dame will be hosting Purdue, 24th-ranked Fighting Irish. They need a win, Kevin Bowen. They're 0-2, but they played two good teams. But they got to get back on track. No question about it.
Yeah, they definitely do. And again, they will be without their captain, their starting safety, Don Shula, for the first half. Sounds like their corner position's banged up. So I am curious, genuinely curious, Purdue and Ryan Brown, what are they able to do specifically in that first half? Again, they move the ball in USC. Can you make things interesting at halftime and put some game pressure on an 0-2 Notre Dame? And then Saturday night, Illinois announced yesterday that their stud corner likely going to be out. So if you are Fernando Mendoza, if you are Omar Cooper, coming off the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week, if you are Elijah Surratt, you have got some opportunities in the pass game, certainly.
That one starts at 7:30. James, you have any eligibility to jump in at defensive back there for your in-line night?
Nah, I'm trying to make sure we win.
All right.
I ain't getting out there.
Number 19, Indiana hosting number 9, Illinois. Ball State plays at Connecticut. That's also a 3:30 kick tomorrow. And Indiana State, JMV, will be on the road to take on Montana. high school football tonight. We talked a little bit about this with Dominic Miranda earlier. Fishers and Brownsburg. That's just a monster football game, Kevin Bowen.
Yeah, great game last year. And again, we'll see.
Was it 31-30, I think, last year?
Yeah, we'll see how Brownsburg bounces back defensively. They gave up a ton to Avon. And
Dykens will be in the house for that one. We're going.
Okay.
There we go.
We're going.
Definitely want to give some thoughts to Terry Walker, the HSC quarterback, torn ACL last Friday night there. I saw he announced that a couple days ago, off the Duke next year. So HSC went to a freshman last week. So anytime you're seeing a freshman play 6A football, it's quite the story there. So hopefully a healthy recovery for Terry Walker.
All right, more football last night. Thursday night football, Buffalo Bills with a win over the Miami Dolphins, who are now 0-3. Bills looking good at 3-0, 31-21. And honestly, you put it earlier in the last hour, yes, bad teams find a way to lose. But Miami, up until the very end there, had acquitted themselves fairly well, James.
Means nothing. You're 0-3. You stink. So I don't think that win last night really does anything to kind of save you when it comes to job security for Mike McDaniel, the quarterback play of Tua
he said no
Tagovailoa.
moral victories.
Yeah, bad teams find a way to lose. You wilt it again.
All right. In Major League Baseball last night, without comment, the Reds shut out the Cubs 1-0 last night. They still trail in a wild card for that final spot by 2 games to the New York Mets, who came up with a 6-1 win over the San Diego Padres. It was a light schedule in Major League Baseball last night. The Indians did beat the Gwinnett Stripers 6-3. They play again tonight at 7:05. And, of course, the biggest news, Mark, in Major League Baseball yesterday, Clayton Kershaw holding a press conference to announce that he will retire at the end of this season. 3 Cy Youngs, 11 All-Star appearances, 222 wins, all with the Dodgers. Wants to make his last regular season start with the Dodgers tonight.
I'm with Kevin. I got the impression at the All-Star game that he was retiring. So this announcement was kind of like, I thought we knew this already. The way they kind of treated him at the All-Star game was like, this is kind of his last hurrah. So
yeah, it was a big press conference for Clayton Kershaw yesterday to make that announcement. So anything else you guys want to throw in before we move on?
Big Ten basketball schedule announced yesterday. Indiana will host the Purdue Boilermakers on a Tuesday coming up January 27th. Purdue will then get the host on a Friday night. I feel like Purdue has benefited from more of the weekend flair in this matchup lately. That is February 20th there. And I did see the Big Ten announce Big Ten tournament for the men, and I think the women too. Or I think actually the women are here, the men are in Chicago. All 18 teams. Does that mean you have to start the Big Ten tournament like a week before the championship game?
Yeah, about a week and a half.
18 teams will be in a 15 last year in it. So they're going to include everybody. So it'll be the IHSA tournament. Everybody's in.
It'll be like field day at elementary school. You get a ribbon, even if it says 9th place on it.
So to win all 8, so you have to win, 6 in 6 days, possibly, if you're the 18 seed? Does that sound right? Would you have to win 6 games, or is it just 5?
I haven't seen the bracket. I don't know how many guys they give 2 teams.
Can you imagine what that bracket looks like?
Yeah,
all right. Follow the maze here for the play-in games and the
10
double
o'clock
buys
Monday morning game, right?
Yeah, it's going to be quite the interesting-looking bracket there. So,
all right.
I do want to mention this really quickly. Tim Martin reached out on Twitter asking, if, what I'll be wearing, I guess, when Illinois gets smacked tomorrow night. That will not happen, by the way. But I will be here Monday. I'm driving back Sunday night, after the Tennessee Titans game. I'll be sleep-deprived, but I will be in this chair at 7 a.m. rocking Illinois gear after a big win.
And you're rocking it right now, too, for those who can't see.
I'm a prophet.
Yeah. There we go.
Prophet.
James is going to tell us he's going to go.
Himself a prophet.
He's going to go 16 for 16 in NFL predictions coming up in a minute here as we continue. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Been a busy morning already. Dominic Miranda, Operation Football, joining us about an hour ago to talk about all the great high school football games on tap this evening. And the Colts, of course, getting ready for their first divisional game of the year Sunday afternoon in Nashville. And Kevin Bowen, this is, as you put it earlier, this is all hands on deck. I mean, it is every week for the Colts, but divisional game, you can't get too big for your britches at 2-0 because this team still has a lot to prove, and you just can't take a game that seems to be on offer like the Tennessee Titans and move beyond it. You just got to go play it like this is the most important game of your season, don't you?
Yeah, again, I just don't believe in trap games in week 3 of an NFL season, especially one where, the Colts have not had recent success at all, haven't won a division title in, 10 years. So to me, the urgency should be very, very high on September, 21st for your first road game, first divisional game. The Lou Anarumo, Brian Callahan storyline, I think, is one we haven't really touched on, but, obviously those two had plenty of history in Cincinnati together, so they should have some familiarity with each other. And then I know we've talked a little bit about Cam Ward. Tony Pollard has had a nice start to the season, and James, it might be PTSD from last year, but man, remember that 3rd and 19 touchdown by Tony Pollard last year?
Yeah, that was some bad play.
Oh, man, that was one of the worst displays of tackling ever. And Pollard, to be fair to him, has been very good already this season at forcing missed tackles.
Yes.
So, when you think about,
I believe he's forced like 20 already in the first couple of games.
How could Tennessee make this a game? That is something to keep in mind. But, again, much better injury report for the Colts yesterday. Tyler Warren limited, at times I'm like, don't overread too much into limited full, but James, I am curious, do we see any sort of pitch count on Tyler Warren on Sunday?
It certainly
Tony Pollard?
Be. Run that back, Mark?
Tony Pollard?
Yeah. That fantastic running back in Tennessee with all the tread on his tires.
Wait, what's that? I'm not following this.
Tony Pollard?
What, was I out?
Were you out? You might have been out that day. So, to give you the context.
Who is that voice?
That is my boy Ben Arthur, who covers the AFC South for Fox. And we were talking to him about the season. And Jeff asked him, hey, is that outstanding back with a lot of tread on his tires still doing his thing in Tennessee? And Ben Arthur was confused because there's not a back in Tennessee with a lot of tread on his tires anymore. That would be Derrick Henry, who is now with the Baltimore Ravens. And
Tony
so he
Pollard?
was confused and thought it was Tony Pollard.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So, but anyways, looking at what's on the agenda, I look at it like this too. If it is a pitch count, that's fine, Kevin, because you have so many other players who should be able to step up in that instance. I mean, you have Josh Downs, you have Pittman, you have A.D. Mitchell, who hasn't been targeted a lot, hasn't been playing a lot, but when he's been on the field, he's been successful early on. So you should be able to absorb that. And I do wonder, to a degree, Kevin, just how much, if he can't go like full speed, similar to JT, how much do you play him? Because at some point you do want to try to, get him some rest. I don't know if you want to, use him at 95% of the snaps for the entire season. Assuming you make the playoffs, which is your goal, you want your guys to be relatively fresh going into that stretch of the season.
Yeah, I kind of look at it like this, James. We mentioned yesterday the Josh Downs Germany game from a couple of years ago. Downs, very iffy to play all week. They decide he can play, but they're only going to play him on 3rd down.
Yeah.
I was looking up yesterday. He played 14 snaps in that Germany game, and the Colts had 13 3rd downs. So literally it was 3rd down, boom, Josh Downs on the field. So, again, the fact that Warren practiced yesterday, to me, is a little bit more of an indicator of he might be okay to play whatever a normal tight end role. But you go back to last Sunday, one of the biggest plays of the game was what? Tyler Warren on a 1st down, lined up at fullback, making his way through the line of scrimmage, sail route, boom, 40 yards.
Yeah.
Are those plays now not available to you if you're only playing them on 3rd down?
Right.
That will be the question that I have for Sunday. Again, the fact that he participated yesterday in practice, though, maybe he will be good to have whatever his normal workload is, but we'll see what he looks like today. And again, limited yesterday. And Latu, I believe, was also limited. So, just a couple things to check for today. And Moody Ward continues to progress very, by all accounts, he's going to play.
Yeah, I will say this real quick. If you all are curious about some of these play calls, I teamed up with my guy, Ted Wynn, who's our resident film guru at The Athletic. Story came out today kind of breaking down why Shane Steichen has brought the best out of Daniel Jones. So it gets really into the X's and O's. So if that sounds like your cup of tea or something you would like to explore, check it out at The Athletic, because I learned a lot myself about how Shane really hasn't called a ton of different plays. They're just dressed up differently. The base plays are pretty much the same thing, but the different options you have out of that are why I believe Daniel Jones has had so much success. So Shane really, if you look at around the league and some of the respect he's earned, he's one of the best at using the same sort of menu, but giving you different items off of that to help have some success. So
that was a very good read.
Yeah, appreciate it.
There you go. Coming up in a moment, we'll take a look at the rest of the NFL. Again, that Colts game comes your way, 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon in Tennessee. You can listen to it live right here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Big weekend of games for Week 3 in the National Football League. We'll go through some of them next on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Good morning, everyone. Mark Dykton on the ones and twos, coming up with those terrific re-entries. And are we going to get a little wrestling preview by the end of the show today?
Oh, boy. Saturday, tomorrow, not only do we have Indiana and Illinois and Purdue and Notre Dame, we've got a doubleheader of wrestling. We got AEW All Out Toronto and then WrestlePalooza right in our backyard. I think I'm going to head to the store after the show today. Check it out. It's right over there across from Lucas Oil at Bullseye Event Group, the WrestlePalooza store, the pop-up store.
Oh, boy.
I think I'm going to check it out.
Sounds like you're heaven.
They announced yesterday the what I thought would be the main event is actually starting the show. Brock Lesnar, John Cena, going to open the show tomorrow. So they're trying to get you, make sure your butts are in your seats. Make sure you're tuned in on that ESPN app. Or checking it out on a VPN, maybe.
Who are the new upcoming stars? Because those guys have been around for a minute now.
The up-and-coming stars.
Uso.
Huh? Yeah, Jey Uso. Yeah, he's on the card reuniting with his brother. We've got...
that was the most Max Bowen moment there ever.
Yeet Boy, as my daughter Emma calls him. Yeet Boy. We've got CM Punk and his real-life wife, AJ Lee, taking on Seth Rollins and his real-life wife, Becky Lynch, in a mixed tag match. James Boyd, big fan of this lady. Jade Cargill in action.
Yeah,
I see those likes on Instagram.
I follow
Don't tell
Jay
me I
on
don't.
IG. That woman is fine. I feel like she was designed by God himself.
She is.
She can
stunning.
still get it.
Ain't no
Oh, yeah.
steal. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
boy.
Every time I see Jade Cargill post, I see liked by Romeoville Kid. I'm like,
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
who did that.
Yeah.
Man. Oh,
There's
Mark's
no- I can't
Mark's
disagree
got
either.
no one to the right or left to him
I
tomorrow
can't
up there.
disagree either.
Man.
What a beautiful woman.
Oh, she is amazing. Yeah, so we've got some matches there. Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre for the championship is gonna assume be the main event of that one. So yeah, should be a very, very fun day. I'm gonna be exhausted. It's gonna be a long day. Football, wrestling. What's better than that? Nothing. That's what. My daughter's got a birthday party, and Ashley's like, "Are you going?" I was like, "Are you insane? Are you crazy? If you want me to be completely checked out on my phone, I'll be there."
At what age can you just drop them off at the birthday party?
Honestly, we were asking that question. Like, is that allowed? She's 8 now. Is that okay?
I was gonna say,
that's kind of borderline.
I feel like you're kind of nearing that.
But we
right?
know these people. It's not like they're strangers.
Sure.
It's not like a first time like birthday visit.
Hey.
We've been to their house before.
So do you actually say, hey, is it okay if we just drop our daughter off? We've got wrestling to watch.
Well, we don't. I do. But yeah, I'm like,
I think that's acceptable.
I can show up, but I'll be like in the corner with the Daisy sour cream and watching wrestling.
Yes, exactly. Perfect.
Yeah.
By the way, shout out listener John. Him and I in the Playscape yesterday at the Children's Museum. He had a great vintage Peyton Manning shirt on. Server at Cooper's Hawk.
Oh,
Son Weston, very nice individual. So
it's
shout
over
out
there
to
on 96th.
yes, right off
Yeah.
96. So shout out to listener John yesterday. I enjoyed chatting with him at the old Children's Museum.
Good deal. It's never a bad day at the Children's Museum.
Never.
We were talking about that yesterday, but it's never a bad day there.
Never, never, never. Awesome place.
Get any shots up yesterday?
I did. I
Nice.
did get a couple. Beef, balance, eyes, elbow, follow through.
Now, do you do the field goal kicking too? You stay away from that.
No, I got the bad toe, man. I can't be kicking
He's
field
got the
goals.
Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got the Burrow. Well, good thing I don't have the Tyler Warren.
Do we need surgery?
A good thing
at some
Tyler
point?
Warren doesn't have the Joe Burrow. Is
Yeah,
probably the better
there you
way to
go.
put it.
Do we need surgery at some point?
We hope not.
Okay.
Mark, do you still have this audio of Zaire talking about Cam Ward?
Oh, let
and
me pull
the
that
throw?
up. I can get it.
Yeah, I feel like people need to hear Zaire talk about, because for those listening, Cam Ward threw his touchdown pass last week against the Rams that was pretty crazy, running across his body or running across the field, throws back across his body to the end zone.
Backyard bleep.
And
It was a strong throw.
yeah, it was quite the highlight. But then we have Zaire Franklin, 2024 second team All Pro linebacker, weighing in on that play and why perhaps it wasn't as good as it looked.
I mean, I hope he throws that play again. Like, it wasn't a good throw. But, I mean, he's a talented player. So, like I said, he can make all those throws. His arm angle, obviously, is exceptional. He's got a zip in the ball. Like I said, he's the number 1 overall pick for a reason. I was a fan of him when he was in college. But, when you got a guy like that that's able to make plays, you just got to make sure you stay on your assignments. But hopefully he throws the ball again.
Complimentary, but also I think it tells me that
Zaire Franklin should be a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
He kind of should. There's so many clips that he puts out there, whether it's in team media or on his podcast now as a guest with 520. I saw him talking about the top 5 quarterbacks, and he said he would take Baker Mayfield over Justin Herbert. And I feel like you're going to see them in Week 7, so perhaps that clip will get played again. So
I respect the candor. And on the throw,
I respect that. But getting back to that throw, he's right. You do that 9 times out of 10, that's a bad play in the NFL.
Yeah, but he also was like the ball went through like 4 defenders' hands. I mean, it was a hell of a throw, but there was really no defender that had a chance at it. Was it the kid from Stanford? Is that who caught it? The rookie, I think it was.
I would have to go back and look. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I mean, those are the plays. Again, how can this be interesting in my mind coming up on Sunday? You let Cam Ward dance a little bit. He can make some of those plays, but again, there is plenty of risk reward involved in that.
And what I heard Zaire Franklin saying is, we looked at that tape, great throw, but people were out of position. It's kind of what I hear, because he's talking about got to stay on your coverage.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it all plays out. But one thing I'll give Z credit for, he will always give you something you can use in a story or, for example, on the radio. And for the most part, the Colts have backed it up against the Tennessee Titans. They've had their number recently, and really every team has had their number. I believe the Titans are on an 8-game losing streak right now. And, yeah, that seat might be getting a little hot for Brian Callahan, too, because I don't know how many coaches can survive a 9-10-game losing streak.
It's coming your way, 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon. You'll be there. You're going there. You're going to be partying Saturday night in Nashville, we know, right?
Should we give our Colts picks?
Now, or you want to wait till the end of the show?
Well, you still got to do our hardest entertaining.
Yeah, we got time.
Game. So should we do our Colts picks now? Because don't we have Matt Taylor coming
I'm cool with it.
We can do it now if you want.
31-17 Colts.
I like the point total because I think the Colts are starting to feel themselves offensively. I'm actually going to go 34-10. I've seen the Titans play twice. I happened to watch both their games. One of them was against Denver. They are not a good football team.
34-10.
They are not a good football team.
That's an NFL ass kicking right there.
I know.
And they're primed for it. That is a bad football team. And you talk about their best secondary guys probably not going to play.
I'll go 28-17 Colts.
Kevin and I are
all in the double-digit camp. Mark Dykton,
Kevin and I are very similar. I had written down earlier Colts 30, Titans 17.
So all 4 of us going take the points big time.
And if you're, a superstitious person, you probably hate that we all just agreed on that. I'm sure that's what the picks. It might be a unanimous. Nick, our digital guy, puts out the picks every weekend. It might be one of those where it's unanimous. And then people are screaming at us that why'd you do that?
Did you notice the Fever did that last night?
Yep.
They took all the ESPN people that picked it. I'm like, that's one of those team media tricks right there. Whenever he picks against you, you save that file just in case there.
That happened to us during the Ravens game a couple years ago. Remember that?
Exactly. Mo Alley Cox, I think, was chirping a little. Yeah. In all seriousness, I think the Cam Ward's been sacked 11 times without their right tackle. A little banged up on their offensive line in general. And this is kind of a weird comment to make. I don't think the Colts pass rush is dynamic enough to let Cam Ward dance around. I think if you have great edge rushers, you get upfield, you break contain, all of a sudden the Colts' best rushers are power people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is better, honestly, and kind of trying to keep Cam Ward confined. As long as you stay disciplined, I am curious, will the Colts spy at all? And do you do that with a safety? This kind of seems like a game to me like where Hunter Wohler, could have been beneficial. Is Nick Cross used it in a spy role at all? That'll be something I'll be curious about.
It's funny because the spread on this is only about 4.5 points. Colts favored by 4.5 points. And the over-under is 43.5, which I guess my 34-10 would pretty much hit on that number. But they're basically telling you this is like a 24-20 game is what they're telling you.
Right. Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. Again, Tony Pollard definitely can make some plays happen, and I just think Ward will give you some opportunities, and you got to take advantage of them when those opportunities do present themselves.
I mean, division games are weird just because look at Bills-Dolphins last night. I mean, it looked like the Bills are far and away the better team, but they were still Dolphins were hanging tough until that Tua interception. So, division games are weird. We'll see.
All right, coming up in a moment, we'll get the skinny on what the Colts have going on from their play-by-play voice, Matt Taylor. He joins us next as we continue the Fan Morning Show on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome into the Fan Morning Show. James Boyd, Kevin Bowen, Mark Dykton. I'm Jeff Rickard. Thanks so much for being here. And now, what would Fridays be without our next guest on the Payless Liquors Hotline, the voice of the Indianapolis Colts, Matt Taylor, who's already putting together an agenda for Saturday night with James Boyd over in Nashville tonight. Good morning.
They'll be lit in more ways than one with that re-entry right there, Mark.
I love that entry, that re-entry. We don't want to forget about the things we've done and said so far this year, do we, Matt?
No, we do not. That's a great song. Takes me back to 1998, seventh grade, junior high, trying to find the courage and the gumption to go talk to the hot girl in the corner. We found it. And, lit was a big part of that, just trying to find that, that courage you need when you're 11, 12 years old, boys. That's what it's all about.
Well, you've come a long way. This team seems to have come a long way.
6 strands of armpit hair, and he's going up to, Betty Jones and asking her for homecoming.
Oh man!
By the way,
when you score a touchdown in cadet football, Kevin, your life changes. I can tell you that from experience.
Right.
You know what? He's speaking facts. He's speaking facts.
Start strutting a little bit. It's
the
good.
big league chew tastes a little different after the game there from Matt Taylor.
No doubt.
Speaking of things tasting, did I get wind? I haven't seen it yet. I would love a link. Is there a commercial with you and Rick Venturi out there?
Oh,
there is. Yeah.
Tell us more, and where is the link?
People were circulating that around last night on social media. I guess it popped up post game in the Cubs-Reds game on Fox 59. They said it was going to come out this week, but I guess they meant late this week because I've been kind of keeping an eye on it. I haven't seen it, but yeah, a little McDonald's Coke venture combination spot with myself and Rick Venturi. I don't want to ruin it for people, but the essence of the spot is.
Are you in the playscape?
we're supposed to be like in the radio booth. They turned it more into like somebody's bedroom doing a podcast. But at any rate, we're doing the game. The Colts score a touchdown, brought to you by McDonald's, and then Rick said something like, McDonald's pairs well with the great Coke. And then being from the Midwest that we all are, especially me growing up the way that I did, I called all Cokes, or I should say, I called all soda and soft drinks. I called it pop. We used to have the pop fridge down in my grandpa's basement dedicated to all things soda. We just called it the pop fridge. So we go back and forth for a good 10 seconds on just, hey, what's it called around here? You call it Coke, we call it pop, and we just kind of have some fun. And my first venture into cinema, my IMDb page can now be updated with the correct ventures on my resume.
It only takes one 30-second spot. Next thing you know, you've got commercials, feature-length movies. Who knows what's up?
I think he's going to play.
Yeah.
Mark, you got to find a link.
I'm going to get Matt Taylor. I would like you to play me in a movie one day, please.
Well, they asked me who was going to play me. Like, you really want me to be myself in this commercial? It was either me or like Billy Bob Thornton or Chris Pratt.
Okay.
But, the Chris Pratt part is obviously dreaming a little bit. It's more like Billy Bob Thornton and Sling Blade, but we had fun with it. It was eye-opening. I mean, the crew and the set people were great. It took about 4 hours to do a 30-second spot because we had to shoot it from like 5 different angles. So that part was very eye-opening. So yeah, I can't wait for my next venture. I mean, whether it's Days of Our Lives, soap opera, or now I'm going to be selling tires, down the street at the local car dealership. Whatever it brings me, I'm excited for it.
Before we get deep into the weeds of Week 3, I also want to make sure we point this out. I absolutely love when you give us the in-booth camera reactions to big plays, and you did it earlier this week on the Spencer Schrader field goal. It's why I love sports. I was just dying at it. I couldn't get enough of it. A holy blank, where's the Tylenol, I believe, was something that might have been uttered at the end of that. I loved it. Keep those coming.
Yeah, most people didn't get that, right? I think I might be the first NFL play-by-play guy in the history of the sport to drop in a movie quote, for a game-winner walk-off field goal. Most people didn't get the Clark W. Griswold reference because, in that moment I was just sort of going. I was riffing. It was unscripted, organic, and I just kind of felt it flow out. It was very just in the moment. It's like, wow, I'm going on this rant, this exuberant, excited rant for the Colts going 2-0 for the first time since 2009, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat with the Spencer Schrader missed 60-yarder, then the penalty with leverage, and then he walks it off on a 45-yard field goal. Like, just the range of emotions right there, I felt like Clark W. Griswold, going nuts after getting the Jelly of the Month Club check instead of the Christmas bonus. And it just happened organically, and it was really fun. And that's why you do it, Kevin, to your point. That's why you prepare, and that's why, you go through the month of August and the preseason and the long days to get the moments like that.
Well, everybody's enjoyed a lot of moments for these first couple of weeks for the Indianapolis Colts. And I, for one, and it feels like based on our predictions, other people agree, like it feels like Sunday is an opportunity for the Colts to exercise even more demons that have surfaced over the last decade. Titans have been struggling. They got some injury concerns in their secondary. They got a brand new quarterback who's only played 2 games. Like, am I wrong to feel like this should be an opportunity for the Colts to get a lot out against the Tennessee Titans here?
Yeah, I mean, this is. I mean, I've got the Taylor tidbits ready, but I'll blow one right here. I mean, to your point, Jeff, you're exactly right. I mean, the Colts are off to this great start, and I think perhaps taking a lot of people nationally off guard a little bit with their, fantastic play and precise execution on offense. 2-0 for the first time since 2009. That snapped the second longest active drought without a 2-0 start in the NFL. Cleveland continues to have the longest 2-0 drought. They haven't been 2-0 since 1993. But, yeah, to your point, I mean, the Colts are in first place in the AFC South for the first time since 2023. And, going down on the road, it's the first road game. It's the first AFC South game of the season for the Colts. This would be a disappointment. They're a team that's favored on paper to go down there and stub their toe. That would sort of, end or at least, derail some of the good mojo they've been able to rack up in the first 2 games of the season. This feel-good story with Daniel Jones coming back and his exodus from New York, all the playmakers that he has on offense and new defensive scheme under Lou Anarumo. You want to continue this train, and I think everybody lost their minds, 3-4 weeks ago, whatever it was, when the Colts announced that Daniel Jones was going to be the starting quarterback over Anthony Richardson. Social media caught fire, and I get it, right? Top 5 pick, and, he's going to have to be quarterback number 2 watching. But the good news is for the Colts is, like, all of their big offseason decisions they made this offseason are paying off big time. Jones over Richardson, the switch to a new defensive scheme under Lou Anarumo. You bring in Charvarius Ward and Cam Bynum in the secondary. You draft Tyler Warren. It would just be a shame for the Colts to go down there and stub their toe in a game that they probably should win on paper and try to get off to a good start in the AFC South, which has kind of plagued them. They're just 3-5-1 record-wise on the road in the division the last 3 years.
Again, we're talking to Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts, on the Payless Liquors hotline. He's given us his Taylor's tidbits. And so enlighten us more, because I learned a lot there. And I will say I did have that streak stat earlier this week. I used it in the story, actually. So kind of wild that the Cleveland Browns have not started 2-0 since before I was born, Mayte. But I'll let you continue there, brother.
Yeah, they also had the longest Week 1 drought in the history of the NFL. The Colts were number 2 before they snapped that last week with a win against the Miami Dolphins. Absolutely. All right, let's go Taylor tidbit number 1 officially right here. Let's talk about the pass rush in this game, because Cam Ward, the rookie quarterback for Tennessee, guys know he's been sacked a whopping 11 times already in the NFL through 2 games. That's the most in the league. His 11 sacks through a pair of games, also the 3rd most times a rookie quarterback has been sacked in his team's first 2 games since the merger in 1970. He's also taken a bunch of quarterback hits. He's been pressured on 45% of his dropbacks so far. But where does the pressure come from the Colts, right? Last week the Colts struggled to get pressure, consistent pressure anyways, on Bo Nix. As a team, the Colts only have 4 sacks through 2 games, and 2 of those are from blitzing defensive backs. Week 1, right? Kenny Moore II got one on Tua. Nick Cross had one in Week 1 as well. So Laiatu Latu missed last week. It's trending with his availability being there on Sunday. But where does the pass rush come in this game? What is the way the Colts are going to be able to disrupt Cam Ward's comfort level after he really hasn't found that yet in 2 games in the NFL. He's got some off-platform ability. He's a very athletic quarterback. He can get out of the pocket. We know he's got a great arm. He threw that 35-yard pass across his body, across the field to Uminor, their only touchdown of the season. So I want to see where the Colts pass rush is in week 3 and how they can kind of scheme up and keep Cam Ward in the pocket and continue that sack parade.
Matt Taylor, is it you and it's you and Charles Arbuckle, I know, coming up this weekend. Coach Ventura, physical health-wise, unfortunately can't travel to road games. Is it you and Charles all year on the road? I didn't know if Joe Wrights was sprinkled in at all.
Yeah, Joe's going to be sprinkled in for a couple of games throughout the season, just with his schedule. And I think he's going to Germany with us. But Charles, I think, is doing, I don't know what the math is. He's doing, I think, at least 5 or 6 with us, and then Joe's doing the remainder. But we're incredibly blessed to have 3 different guys that we can call out of the bullpen this year. And, I think most teams, if I'm being honest, most teams struggle to have one good quality local analyst, and we're very blessed to have 3. So from my standpoint, it's a blessing and a pleasure to work with all of those guys. They all kind of bring their own energy, their own flair, and their own, attacking style of approaching the broadcast from an analyst perspective. So I just adapt and modify, and I love working with all of those guys for different reasons.
I would agree. I think all 3 of you, along with, of course, yourself, excellent, and I believe free Big Macs for life after hearing this, Mark Dykton?
Chicken nuggets. That's it.
Chicken nuggets for life, okay? Do we have the commercial?
And the Colts have just taken the lead with their first touchdown of the game. That means fans score a free 10-piece Chicken McNuggets at McDonald's.
Best enjoyed with an ice-cold Coke.
You mean pop?
No, Coke.
That's what I said, Rick. It's pop.
Coke.
Pop.
Coke.
Pop.
Coke.
Pop.
Coke.
It's pop.
That's right. A Colts touchdown means a free 10-piece Chicken McNuggets the next day in the app. Best enjoyed with a Coke.
Anyone want a soda?
Get out.
Look at that. Unbelievable.
Ooh, that boy gonna get him an Oscar
Man.
very
I
soon.
know they're going to Hollywood next week, but don't say out there. Gosh, jeez.
Right. Yeah, Tom Hanks did Forrest Gump, Matthew McConaughey and Dallas Buyers Club, and Matt Taylor in the local McDonald's spot, right? Those are the 3 greatest performances of all time.
As Robert Redford exits, Matt Taylor enters. Unbelievable.
I'll tell you what, Coach Ventura, it doesn't sound like he's very hard to get him to argue for a bit, It seems like you all do that a little bit behind the scenes. I'm not falling for that chemistry I see, every Sunday or here on the radio.
No, Rick was great. And like I said, it was the hardest part was they had to shoot this thing from 5 different angles, and then we had to keep doing it over and over. And so I don't know how many times we went back and forth with him saying Coke and me saying pop, but you would have had a good drinking game out of it. I know that if you were keeping score and trying to have a good time. But we did that in like early August, like right around the start of training camp. So I had kind of forgotten about it a little bit. And then when it popped up, this week, it was like, oh yeah. I mean, you guys do this long enough, like the days and the games and the weeks, they're just a blur. So it was fun to see that kind of come back to the forefront.
First thing I'm going to do when I get off the air today is go look that up. I can't wait to see it.
It's great. I was looking at it on Mark's computer over here. Tell me you had to go makeup for that, did you?
Yeah, there was a little splash of makeup under the eyes, around the nose. Yeah, a little touch up here.
A little powder.
Yeah.
You do that when you go do a TV spot?
No, after the hair transplant, they're like, you're not as ugly as you used to be, so you don't have to do any more makeup.
Just throw them out there.
Oh, man.
Get out there, boy.
There's
I am saying that in all seriousness. I had to do makeup the first year, then I got the hair transplant. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, it's better.
You look great.
How do you follow that, Matt Taylor?
Welcome to A Face for Radio, Matt Taylor.
That's it. We were born to do this, and
Amen,
there's a reason, boys.
All right.
Yep.
Particular Sunday afternoon, pregame starts at 10, kick at 1, correct?
That is correct. Yep. And shout out to you guys for adding Hank this year, man. I think the Hank audience has been awesome. That's been kicking butt. A ton of fan engagement on the post-game show with all the call-ins, with Greg and Bill. So we really appreciate that, and it's just one more big way for Colts fans to get involved. And so, yeah, Hank FM, all 9 hours of every regular season game this year for the Colts on radio. So really excited for it, off to a good start. So keep the calls, keep the interaction going every week.
All right, Matt Taylor joining us every Friday morning, 9 o'clock here on the Payless Liquors Hotline. Have a great game Sunday, and try not to stay out too late with James on Saturday night.
All right, we'll do our best. See you guys.
All right, there you go. I need you to not corrupt him Saturday night, so he has a great game Sunday.
I don't know why you keep saying things like this.
You're the one who wants to take my teenage son out and get him going.
I don't even drink. You'd have a great time. You remember everything.
That's good to know. That is good to know. And you had a terrific birthday last night. A lot of celebration in your house, right, with the fettuccine, right?
Yeah, a little fettuccine Alfredo. Shout out to my wonderful wife, Maddie. Is there a gift that says you're getting older than this?
I saw an interesting gift someone set up for you on the
Wasn't he
text
going to
line.
finish his story?
Oh, you got a story?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
I do have a story. Thank you.
I apologize.
No.
Thank you, James.
Oh, good. I got one of those lap desks.
Oh, yeah, you getting old.
How old am I?
Hey, you getting old. Oh, no.
Like, so for road games, James, you're obviously there. Road games, I'm watching from the couch.
Yeah.
And so usually I'm like propping up a pillow or two and, kind of doing that. And Maddie's like, first off, my posture sucks. And that is clearly an issue. So she's like, you need to get a lap desk. I had never really heard of it. Maddie actually has one. So this is great. I mean, this thing's a pillow. It honestly looks like something, Mark, you would put your baby on. And like one of those, not breastfeeding pillows, but you know what I'm saying. Like you would prop your baby on there. I'm like, this thing is awesome. Last night I'm sitting there watching The Fever, dialing up the old laptop. I got Amazon Prime on the laptop. I got the Fever game on the TV. I'm like, this thing is great, and I'm old as hell.
You know what, though? It really does sound like I might need to invest in that in my own life.
You're going to hate until you have one. But yes, I do feel.
True words never been spoken.
Man, I felt so old as soon as I opened that up.
You have a great
How do you do,
wife.
fellow kids?
Yeah. You have a great wife, and you'll find out as you get older, too.
Thanks, Mark.
They find things that you didn't know you needed, and you get them, and you go, at first you're like, oh. And then a week later, you're like, this is the best thing ever.
Wait, Mark, I missed that. Can you play that one more time? Yeah.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
Mark, stop.
That's Kevin come spring when he tells his students that he has a a lap desk.
Well, they walk in the classroom. He's on the floor on a roller trying to get his back
so
fixed.
Pathetic. I honestly told Maddie, I'm like, what I really need is socks. I mean,
compression socks.
How old? Luckily, Rosie, Maddie gave Rosie $1. She could spend it on whatever she wanted for me. So Rosie got me a bag of Doritos.
Nice.
So thank you to Rosie for that.
It's awesome.
So I love that, and I have a new water. I just put it in the dishwasher, but I have a new water cup. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, because that's your dad one. I like that.
Yeah,
one.
and this is my girl dad. Shout out to my wonderful sister-in-law Anna Lovers who got me that for Father's Day. But
I'll tell you what, if I was Rosie and you had that cup, knowing I have another sibling on the way, I would hold that over their heads forever. Yeah. I am the favorite. I was the firstborn.
Excellent birthday. So thank you, everybody that reached out. And yes, to Jeff's story that he was getting to, yes, Derek, the listener, said a Manti Te'o related gift. Did I see that?
Yep. That's what I see on the text line.
I was about to say, it must not be real then.
Yeah, shocked that didn't get delivered, right?
Manti's got a history, I'd say.
I was going to say, go to your local zoo and find the cat and the fish, and you got that.
I will say, my boy Manti, he recovered very well. If you see his wife and his family now,
Man,
life is good.
That. Man, James Boyd feeling a little something here on this Friday before he heads off to Nashville.
I am a fan of beautiful people.
What were your thoughts
on one of those pedal bars?
We know we've seen the Jade Cargill
Hey, there you go.
Kickoff starting at noon Central Time might come early for James Boyd on Sunday.
You never know.
What were your thoughts on Manti after you saw that doc?
I mean, I honestly think
I felt bad for him.
Yeah, not to go too far down memory lane, but I felt for him, and like I said, he recovered mighty fine.
Yeah,
pun intended.
He's done well. All right, let's get you up to date on everything else you need
Notre Dame's
to know
0-2, and we're talking about Manti Te'o and the fake girlfriend.
What year is it?
Man, this is and I got a lap desk.
The Morning Checkdown
Almost got a
on
cameo.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
For those wondering, it was a cameo that someone tried to get you with Manti Te'o.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, I think so.
How much is a Manti Te'o cameo at?
Well, apparently free these days since he's ghosting them.
Something strikes me as that would be
charge nothing.
Kind of pricey.
In real news, the Indiana Fever are on to the semifinals of the WNBA playoffs. James, last night, a Game 3 win on the road against Atlanta, 87-85. Kelsey Mitchell delivers again, 24 points. Odyssey Sims been terrific. She had 16. Aaliyah Boston steady, 14, 12, and 6. Natasha Howard had 12 points and 6 boards, and they will play Las Vegas in Game 1 of a best-of-5 series Sunday at 3. This will be a test, but they've been rolling so far.
Yeah, a huge test. You're going up against, I believe, the best player in the world, A'ja Wilson, 3 other Olympians on that roster. But, hey, you live to fight another day, and this team certainly will not quit. So I'm curious to see how Stephanie White gets that crew ready for a big, big game come Sunday.
You know what? Shout out to some of the Fever others. Kelsey Mitchell, incredible in the first half. Let me start there. But to be down by 8 at half, I think it was 8, maybe 7, and Mitchell only had 5 in the second half and come back and win. There was a stretch there, James. They were down 85-80, I believe. Shea Petty 3, Bree Turner offensive rebound put back. I mean, imagine the start of the year, us saying, hey, in a clinching playoff game, those are the 2 Fever players. I mean, hell, Shea Petty wasn't even on the team. Those are the 2 players that are going to be making big-time plays. So, unbelievable. I'm half joking, half serious. Stephanie White has taken a third-grade Kevin Bowen art project that's broken and had glued it together, and here they are in the Final Four. It's a hell of a coaching job.
All I know is the Kevin Bowen lap desk is 1-0. 1-0.
Boy, that's a good point. It'll be back on the lap come Sunday afternoon, I can tell you that.
All right, that's because the Colts will take on the Tennessee Titans at 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon, as a matter of fact. We just talked to Matt Taylor about that, of all the little nuggets you heard and things you've been preparing for. What stands out to you going into this game, Kevin?
Well, I think we got to go to the injury report. I know we didn't specifically talk about that with Matt Taylor, but Tyler Warren was back to practice yesterday in a limited role, but still back. Josh Downs was full. Latu is strung 2 days together. Javarius Ward has been full all week long. So Joe Bocci is probably the biggest name to watch today. He missed yesterday. That is your starting linebacker next to Zaire Franklin. And then I think with guys like Warren and Latu, it's just how full are they Sunday? You know, when you practice on a Thursday, assuming you don't have a setback, you should be good to go. For Sunday, it's more of, are you playing Warren 66 snaps? Is Latu playing, as that full-time rusher? Is he more of a third down guy? So those are just some of the things to keep an eye on for Sunday.
James Boyd, what worries you the most about the Tennessee Titans?
Probably Cam Ward. He is a player that can make some of the backyard throws and make you right to an extent, even if you have the right plays called against him. He's somebody who can kind of bend the game to his will at times, but even then, it's still a tall task for a rookie quarterback to go up against a defense like Lou Anarumo's. Now, this was last year, Kevin, with Gus Bradley. I'd be thinking, hey, he's going to get in rhythm early, but with Lou throwing so many different things at you as a defensive coordinator, I just still think it's a long shot for him to get off to a really good start, and therefore, I expect the Colts to handle business. And like I said earlier, my prediction for the score was 28-17 Indy.
I'll throw one defensive item. Jeffrey Simmons, Tavondre Sweat, assuming Sweat is healthy. He missed last week. That is a pretty good duo. Now, again, the Colts offensive line, I think, has done a nice job this season, but that would be something to keep an eye on as well.
All right, 1 o'clock kick time here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan, and you can hear the pregame show beginning at 10 a.m. College football, a couple of big games tomorrow. IU hosting Illinois, 2 top 25 teams. In fact, Illinois is a top 10 team on the road, and they are the underdog right now.
We'll be top dog by the end of tomorrow night, so I ain't too worried about it. Just get ready to, everybody listening right now under the sound of my voice, just get ready to show up for church Monday morning. I'm going to have a sermon for you.
Man.
Kevin, you like your Hoosiers?
Tell you what, James Boyd, I love how he's talked all week long. That man has talked. He has not stopped talking.
No.
He has not wavered one bit.
And you know what's crazy?
If you got the swagger and the confidence of James Boyd, then by all means.
Kevin, I got into a YouTube chat argument earlier this morning, and they started throwing all these, numbers at me of why staggering ratings. And I was like, brother, I've watched one Illinois game all year, so you're arguing with an expert here, clearly.
Oh, I love it. By the way, Kurt Cignetti versus Brett Bielema strikes me as two dudes that hate each other. I don't know if they do or not, but they just strike me as two dudes that don't like each other.
General principle, right?
And I'm ready for Saturday night. I cannot wait.
It is weird. This is a football game we're talking about, not a basketball game.
Weirdly, I don't know if I looked forward to an IU football game this much last year. Michigan was kind of one of those what
do you mean? IU Notre Dame?
Well, regular season game. Let me clear that up. The Cincinnati game a few years ago had a ton of hype around it, but that was still kind of lingering COVID, if I remember correctly. And I don't know. This one just feels different. Part of it probably has to do with the home night game. That's just when I think of college football, that's kind of what I think of. Home night atmospheres that makes the sport so unique, and it's about time that Bloomington got one of those. So what a moment coming up on Saturday.
All of those pleasantries he just described, your path to the college football playoff for IU, it ends tomorrow night. So just letting you know that. They're hearing early. You ain't got to waste your time. I'm telling you what's going to happen. Prophetic.
Kevin, no one's ever listened to this show, and they're just catching this segment for the first time.
This guy's a complete jerk.
Who the hell is this jack?
Kevin is going to be in attendance at the Notre Dame Purdue game up in South Bend, which means you'll probably be listening to a lot of the IU game on the radio.
Well, you know what? I was just looking at the weather. It looks a tear dicey. This sounds horrific, Mark, doesn't this? Let's take your 5-year-old daughter to the first ever college football game and potential lightning delays. Can you imagine?
You better make sure there's Dippin' Dots there.
Oh
I was about to say, it sounds like an extra hamburger for
boy.
Rosie Bowen.
This sounds awful. So, yes, it will be a lot of probably listening to Indiana on the way home and pray for no delay.
For those not able to see the YouTube version of video here on this show, just listening on the radio, you are regaling us in a Notre Dame hat and a Fever long sleeve T-shirt today.
Yep, got my Fever long sleeve on. Fellows deserve it amidst the 85-degree weather that we have right now. And yes, my Notre Dame hat, and I really hope they can finally win a football game this year.
All right. Last night, NFL, Buffalo over Miami 31-21. A lot of high school football coming up tonight, headlined by Fishers and Brownsburg, Pendleton Heights at New Pal. This one, no, we haven't talked about this. This is interesting to me, too. Purdue Inglewood at Crispus Attucks. Purdue Inglewood's 4-0. Attucks is 3-1 right now. That'd be a good football game.
I used to live next to Attucks. Let's go. Fight, fight, fight.
And also Westfield at Hamilton Southeast. Could be a good game, too. So looking forward to that. All right, coming up in a moment, we will continue the Fan Morning Show. Take a look ahead to the NFL Week 3 as we continue next on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Good morning. I hope your Friday's going well. A lot of great football going to be coming your way. High school football tonight. James Boyd, you thinking about going anywhere?
Yeah, I might hit up Ben Davis and Warren Central at BD. So I might see Rick later today.
Oh, that'll be kind of
East side,
nice.
west side.
There you go.
What's the time? It's been probably a year since last year I went to one game. How about you? You got many high school football games lately?
No, I went to, I guess, 2 Cathedral games last year at the Butler Bowl, now you say it, but none this year. No, tonight, actually, a shout out to my dad. It is his birthday coming up on Monday, so we're going to celebrate my dad's birthday.
Oh, wow.
Coming up tonight. So
My
Brad
dad's
Bowen.
birthday's Tuesday. Look at that.
Man.
How about that, Mark?
Look at that.
Well, my dad, a tremendous, tremendous role model in my life, and a former Ben Davis teacher to bring it full circle to Warren Central and Ben Davis coming up tonight. Wayne Township, for a lot of decades, a lot of sacrifices my dad made for our family, so thank you, Dad, for that.
All right, so a lot coming up this weekend. Of course, the National Football League has a full schedule. The first game last night, Buffalo defeating the Miami Dolphins. The Sunday night game this week will be Kansas City, the Giants, Detroit, Baltimore on Monday night. But we'll take a look at everything and try to get you ready to go with the games we like, the games that we're struggling with, and the games that we just want to watch. Mark, what do we got?
All right, so let's do this. Week 3 already on the NFL slate. So, most entertaining. Let's go around the horn. Let's start with the post-birthday boy Kevin over there.
Boy, I got to go with the clinching game. The old, I can't wait for Sunday Night Football. Chiefs-Giants. Are the Chiefs going to be 0-3? That is the NFL's league-leading passer, Russell Wilson, on the opposite sideline. Can you imagine the Chiefs starting 0-3? Losing to the Giants on Sunday Night Football? That, to me, is entertaining as hell. So, I'm going to go there.
I'm going to kind of piggyback on your looking for some misery action. I am going to be entertained by the Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears because whoever loses that game, I'll be like, good. Sorry, Mark, but that's just the way it goes.
Get your damn act together.
Uh-huh. How do you feel about that game, by the way?
I don't love it because, I'm not loving how the Bears' defense is played, especially going up against Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. But I also want to beat the brakes off the Cowboys because Matt Eberflus is their defensive coordinator, and I hate that man. I hate that man with a passion. So I don't want him to walk into Soldier Field and walk out with a victory.
I mean, if it was up to him, he'd probably still be keeping the timeout in the back pocket, right?
So yeah, I would like some Eberflus blunders on Sunday. Let's keep those going.
I'm going to go Monday night.
Yeah,
Lions,
that's
Ravens.
a good one. That's a really good one.
2 high-powered offense, 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league, and 2 perennial playoff teams. And anytime I get to watch Lamar Jackson, I am a happy person because I think that he is probably the most entertaining player to watch. Not the best player perhaps in the league. I mean, toss it up between Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, whoever. He's in that conversation for sure, but just aesthetically, the guy is superhuman.
And also keep an eye on Rams-Eagles. Colts play the Rams next week. Remember how good that playoff game was last year? Rams-Eagles.
It was.
The Rams had a great chance to pull off that.
At the
upset.
snow game?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the only game in Week 3. This is one of 2 games that has a pair of undefeated teams going at it. I'm looking at Rams and Eagles at
there
Philadelphia.
We go. I stole your thunder, Mark. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I think that's a good one.
What about the undefeated? The Cardinals and the 49ers?
No, thank you. No, I don't want to. No, that one will be on like TV2 maybe or something. No, Rams Eagles. I'm intrigued by. I think that's a pretty interesting matchup there. Obviously, the controversy surrounding the tush push once again will be the forefront of that one. So yeah, give me Rams Eagles on Sunday afternoon.
Can you remember, Kevin, more bluster being manufactured about something like the tush push? Like, national media seems obsessed with it. That's all you hear, all you see this week.
Yeah, it seems a tad overblown to me. My hardest game to pick, Mark, I got to go Cowboys-Bears.
Okay. I get it.
Has it wavered at all? 1.5 is what I had it at.
1.5.
So Cowboys are a favorite on the road, 1.5 point. I don't know. I don't really care either. To me, that's a very difficult game to pick.
I'm going to go Arizona Cardinals and San Francisco 49ers. I think Arizona's better than a lot of people think they are. They have a terrific group of skill set players. Their defense can come and go at times, but San Francisco, man, they're banged up everywhere. They got guys coming off of injury. They got a quarterback who may play, may not play, depending on what you listen to the coach. That's one I will stay completely away from. I have no feel for how that game is going to go. Arizona and San Francisco.
I'll go Steelers, Patriots.
I thought about that one too.
I'm not convinced that Aaron Rodgers is like back. And then I think Drake May could be somebody. He looks promising as of late. So that's one I'm very curious about. And the New England Patriots are at home, which should help the younger, I would imagine, quarterback in that situation.
Hardest one, I'm staying away from Bengals and Vikings. Minnesota's a 2.5-point favorite at home, and it would have been a marquee match.
Carson Wentz music.
Hold on. It would have been a marquee matchup even a week ago with Joe Burrow likely out for the season and J.J. McCarthy burned out. Now you're staring at Jake Browning and Carson Wentz, and I don't care what Mike Wells says about Carson.
Carson has a nice touch on his balls.
I'm not touching that game at all. I'm not touching that soundbite at all. Not only is a game that has lost a lot of star power, that's a game I just don't want to touch at all.
Scotty is looking hot in the back of the studio right now.
Like, settle down, man.
You and Mark are double teaming me.
All right, settle down.
It's been a rough week for Mike Wells on this show.
Oh, my goodness.
Man. Oh, man.
Good grief.
Oh, Mark, that's excellent.
I thought he's busy at Brownsburg Schools. What's he doing in here?
I feel like an idiot for saying this for the easiest game to pick because it's one of the best quarterbacks in the league with points, but I'm going to go with Eagles -3.5. The Rams traveling all that way. I get the playoff game was great and everything. They're a little beat up, the Rams. Stafford getting points. Kevin, stop being an idiot, but I'm going to say, Eagles -3.5. Easiest game for me.
Thought about that one, but I decided to go, Mark, with the Green Bay Packers on the road. They're giving up 7.5 points to the Browns, but the Browns, like, who are they? What is going on? The defense has been fantastic for the Packers. I don't know if the Browns can score that many points against them, and the Packers just rolling right now. They're just rolling right now, Mark.
Super Bowl favorites. Anything less, biggest failure in NFL history. I've said it. I stand by it.
I'm going to go Giants-Chiefs. Chiefs at 6.5. I'm not taking that.
The Giants to cover? Wow.
I think they're going to cover that game.
You don't like Kansas City at all right now.
I mean, injuries, and at some point you cannot be a dynasty anymore. So that's where I'm going.
It's the Giants.
I know, but they also put up points.
I was going to be an ass and say the Packers since they're 7.5-point favorites against the Browns, but Jeff took that already, which is fine. That's fine. But again, biggest failure in NFL history if they don't win the Super Bowl. I'm going to go Bucks-Jets. Justin Fields out for this game. They're rolling with Tyrod Taylor. The Jets are already 0-2. Now they're heading down to the hot, sticky Tampa, and they're 6.5-point underdogs. I'm taking the Bucks and the points there because
short week for the Bucks.
I know, but I like myself what Baker Mayfield's done out there. I like that Bucks defense. And I think with Tyrod Taylor there, the Jets are in a world of trouble.
Guys, we're all idiots, aren't we?
Well,
that's a day that ends in Y.
Right.
What were all of our Colts-Titans predictions? Shouldn't the easiest bet of the week be the Colts?
Well, I wanted to stay away from that game on our easiest, hardest, most entertaining, I guess.
Well, yes, but, you know.
Probably worth mentioning.
But easiest, I think, it'll be Indianapolis.
If we all pick the Colts to win by double digits, then
that means it's definitely easy for Jeff.
That means
picked
the
about
Colts
24.
-3.5.
I will be disappointed if this is not just a complete whitewash.
I feel like the NFL's weird, man. It really happens that way where you get the beat down. What we saw in week 1, that's rare.
Any other thoughts, Mark, about teams that are supposed to win it all and own the universe?
No. I mean, the Packers are the one and only. There's one universe, and it's the Packers, and we're all just living in it. And if they don't win the Super Bowl, I'm just telling you.
Which college underdog you taking? You taking Purdue 24.5 against Notre Dame, or you taking Illinois 6.5 against IU?
I'm taking Illinois in the points all day with that one.
Huh?
I would take Illinois in the points, too, but I do think Indiana wins a close game.
Illinois finna beat the brakes off them. Like I said, you'll be coming in. Just get the music queued up over the weekend, Mark.
I've had people already asking for the Indiana fight song. I'm like, James is not going to have any of that on Monday.
This is going to be an apology. Get that apology letter written.
Purdue Notre Dame, I just need the over to hit. Just do that, Kevin. Can you get that? Can you put on 55?
What is it, 55?
I think it's 52.5, actually.
Yeah.
It could be. Let me double check.
I don't know.
That's a big number, but, man, college football, they just seemingly all they do is score.
On the field, you're talking football field, right?
51.5 is the over in Purdue Notre Dame. 51.5.
Big weekend coming up. We'll talk a little bit more about what's ahead, and Mark might even give us a quick preview on a big weekend down the street. Mark, you excited about that?
Don't let that slide. Jeff tried to get slick there at the end. Always blaming us. Yeah, okay. Somebody's mouth was in the gutter just there.
I was just trying to set some people up. That's all. Coming up next, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Kevin, Tanner would like for you and James Boyd to have a little wager on the Indiana-Illinois football game coming up this weekend.
No, I feel a little mixed on that with my passion, of course, being in South Bend. But, I would happily rock an Illinois shirt if the Fighting Illini got it done. Granted, James Boyd and I probably not in the same size range. Certainly not after my fettuccine Alfredo last night. It's like me wearing the – Mark, remember when I wore the Joel A. Erickson Beater Brewer shirt?
Yeah,
I have a photo of you in that in my phone.
Man.
Yeah.
What a nice guy Joel
Quite
A.
the blackmail
Erickson
you have there, James.
Yeah, that thing was tight.
Yeah, I want to say I walked. This was like when I first had met Kevin.
I was rocking
walking
a little chest there.
Yeah, I was walking into camp out there in Westfield one day, and I saw him, and I was like, "Oh, this must be hazing." Had the camera on me, snapped a photo. I have incriminating evidence on him. Stephen Holder, by the way, Mark, you'll love this. Stephen Holder actually threw his AirPods case in the garbage after the game. This was maybe like in a preseason game earlier this year.
On accident or on purpose?
On accident, and he had to go fishing for it, and he made the mistake of announcing that to us in the media room in the
like
press
me in the
box.
porter potty.
So you know me, I got the phone really quick and got video of Stephen Holder going through the trash can.
Tanner just wants you to keep talking that smack.
Absolutely, that's what I do for a living. I'm gonna talk.
Are there many Fighting Illini alumni you think in the city? I said in all seriousness, and I bring that up to say this, James. One of my favorite sports memories. Notre Dame played Illinois in the second round of the NCAA tournament at the RCA Dome in 2003. It was a 4-5 seed matchup. And obviously, Champaign is not that far from here.
Right.
But I just remember being in that arena, and I could not believe how many times I heard ILLINI. I mean, I heard that a million times. Luckily, my Irish advanced there and beat, what would that have been, Bill Self maybe? Bruce Weber? I don't even know who that would have been.
I'd have been Bruce Weber.
It was
Bruce Weber.
02, because 03, I think Illinois, or was it 05 when Illinois
05 went on the run.
Yeah, went on the run. 02. Yeah, that was awesome, though. But ILLINI, that thing was ringing in my ears forever. I mean, the secondary ticket market, I mean, that was brought up earlier in the show. It's no joke for Saturday night down there.
No, it really is. It's very expensive. Like I said, I will enjoy watching that game from a bar that I don't have to pay to go into. So excited about that. I'll be watching it with Maytay. And, yeah, like I said, just be here Monday. And for those who are asking, yes, I'm driving back Sunday night after that game. I will get in pretty late / early, if you count that as an early morning. But I will be here bright and early. Pettiness will wake me up in the morning. I won't have to set the alarm, Mark. I might just stay up, walk straight in, and tell y'all I told y'all so. Getting your hopes up for this. I wouldn't lie to you guys. I try to bring you honest and factual things here on the air as a journalist, and I'm telling you right now, if you ain't picking Illinois, oh Lord, have mercy on you.
Good, bad, or indifferent, you'll be here on Monday.
I'm fascinated to see how the quarterbacks for both Indiana and Purdue play this weekend. There were some encouraging signs, I thought, for Brown last week for Purdue, and this is the first big spot now for Mendoza. I'm looking to see how he does, Kevin.
Yeah, I know from an NFL scouting standpoint, a lot of people are curious on Mr. Mendoza, and Illinois is down their top corner. So I think, we've seen this line shift a little bit here. Is that part of the reason why? Yeah, I think it's obviously it's a huge game for Indiana and the playoff positioning. And like we talked about earlier in the show, the fact that you're at Oregon, at Penn State, those are obviously really, really tough games. 10-2 with those two being the losses, and then you beat Illinois, maybe, you can formulate a resume looking like that, but this is the one you need in your back pocket because, in all likelihood, the trips to Eugene and Happy Valley are going to be very difficult.
Mark, I need you to cue up or have the audio ready of Kenny Smith after the was it Vince Carter dunk? It's over. It's yeah, that's what it's going to be for IU. You'll be in a bowl game, but you won't be in any of the important ones.
Well, this college sports report brought to you by Bet365. Bet365. When it comes to sportsbooks, Bet365 has it all. Download the app today and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365.
You know what James is going to be saying to all those IU fans if, Illinois walks out of Bloomington with a win?
Get out.
That's it.
There you go.
Pull Matt Taylor. Get out of here.
I thought
Get
that
out.
was Matt.
I can't wait.
He'll give you a pop
night.
on the way out, too.
Yeah. Soda? Pop?
Get out.
We know you're going to see Notre Dame on Saturday night, and we know you're going to Nashville Saturday, so you can follow the Colts on Sunday afternoon. I am going to be a couch potato all day Saturday. That's my plan. Get some honeydews out of the way early in the day, and then just sit in front of the TV and watch, man.
Get that French onion dip. Get that ranch
What's
dip.
your favorite?
Honestly, probably the ranch, but the French onion's very good.
I think I'm going to go French onion on that.
It's going to be locked in on Cubs Reds as his Reds are making that push.
Well, Cubs, they're trying to get
printed
home.
out roster next to him, maybe there.
That's brutal.
That was incredible by Hunter Green last night. In all seriousness, shout out to Hunter Green. That is exactly what you want from your ace in a must-have game.
Well, the sad part is I will say this: the Reds have been challenged offensively all year long, and they need performances like that to win baseball games.
Yes,
that's the sad part.
One of the 5 players that Jeff knows.
No, it can give you the entire starting 8 and 3 or 4 of the starting pitchers, depending on the month and the week. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you Monday.